program will ensure that Kenyans get the best medical services.
Nimesign sheria juzi, tunamaliza regulation in the next 1 month. Kufikia Januari, sasa tutaanza program. Kila mtu apate card ya hospitali. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Kila mtu apate card ya hospitali. Either utakuwa umelipia shilingi 300 ama serikali itakuwa imekulipia, ama kama mimi na hawa wadosi hawa, malipo yetu itakuwa juu kidogo. Na tujasema iende juu sana, hapana, tulipe to the same percentage. Mama mboga yake ni 2.7%, hata mimi 2.7%. Kisikia mtu wenu ako na mgonjwa wa kansa, unajua sasa shamba itauzwa, si ndio? Kwa sababu kutibu kansa ni balaa. Mara inapelekwa India, mara inapelekwa wapi. Lakini katika hii mpango sasa tutakuwa na fund ambayo inaitwa critical illness fund, ambayo itasaidia kila mmoja wetu, kwa sababu hakuna mtu anapanga kuwa mgonjwa.
Although governors have raised questions about the new funding model, the president has given assurances that the law will be followed.
Tumesema pesa ya afya haitatumika tena katika kazi zingine. Kwa muda mrefu pesa ambayo imepangiwa afya inachukuliwa, inaenda kutengenezewa barabara, ingine inaenda kujenga gate, ingine sijui inaenda kufanya nini. Tumesema sasa going forward, pesa ya hospitali ni ya kununua dawa, pesa ya hospitali ni ya kuhakikisha kwamba kuna matibabu hospitalini. Na nimeambia wale wadosi wamezoea kuiba pesa ya umma watapatana na mimi. Na nimewaambia waziwazi mapema mchana, si ndio? Hatuwezi kubali pesa ya wananchi wanatoa ya ushuru kwa jasho, alafu mtu anaenda pale kwa sababu wako na ofisi fulani, anaenda kukula hiyo pesa, anapeleka kwa bibi yake. Bana.
As Kipse, KCPE and KCST candidates are expected to start writing their exams next week. Education PS Bailey Kipsang has given an assurance that security will be beefed up in areas prone to insecurity. He says officers have already been deployed in the troubled areas.
On the issue of security and the areas that have been having challenges, I would want to give you our assurance. We've had quite a lot of consultation with my colleague Raymond in charge of internal interior and national administration, and I can assure you that as government we are properly aligned and that all this will be dealt with in a way that it will not interfere with the examination. Our colleagues at the Ministry of Interior, they have mapped out areas that requires critical attention. We worked with all arms of government. There are quite a number of helicopters on our disposal.
Education stakeholders have asked parents and teachers to support their candidates as they prepare for the exams.
We also want to appeal to our parents to support their children and the school at large in prayer. Education is the key to success, and it's also an equalizer. Anybody who gets education is able to succeed irrespective of where they come from or their background. If they believe in themselves, they get proper education, success is for their take.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition party has now threatened to pull out of the national dialogue if cost of living is not given a priority. Speaking in Kajiado County, Azimio leaders led by Raila Odinga said that the opposition will not take part in drafting the joint report starting today.
Tuko na wiki moja imebaki kumaliza hiyo kazi, and I want to assure you, as our leader will assure you today, without dealing with the issue of cost of living, there will be no deal.
They've also continued to condemn the demolition of houses in Okoh, Machakos County.
Toto wanakaa pale hawana makao, mvua inanyeshewa, shule zinabomolewa na kuna watoto ambao wanakwenda kufanya mitihani wako pale, mahospitali, dispensary zinabomolewa, makanisa zinabomolewa, nyumba ya Mungu.
The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has now said that the government has found a new market for coffee and that 4 billion shillings are being allocated to ensure that farmers get paid. Speaking in Nyeri County, Gachagua added that the government's effort to bring about changes in the coffee sector have been met with opposition from the middlemen. It should be noted that farmers have now started to harvest their coffee, but there is no market after the agents disagreed with the government. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
102.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
Yes. That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. Since I'm not shipping up. You know my business partner here. Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
the sheep man? One of Talam used to tell us a story of they were in school and they'd been told to write composition about a sheep. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba. Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. It seems that we're getting into the week hot and heavy already. A little bit of movement happening here and there on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city. We'll see a lot more of that as we get closer to traffic hour. The sun is shining through and we'll see some movement also coming out of Westlands on Mombasa Road today. Also getting into the city, we're seeing traffic starting to build up. On Njoroge Road getting towards Landis and then out towards the Kamkunji roundabout. It looks like it's going to be one Monday morning for the books. Hope everybody is well as we're getting into it. Let us know what's happening where you are this morning. Want to keep things moving regardless. Let's talk Spice FM KE on X.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power. And Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room. The
Good
only
morning.
way to...
How are you doing? Welcome to Monday, Kenya's biggest conversation. How was your weekend? Did you have a good one? It was a long weekend for some. It was just a kawaida weekend for others. Whichever one was yours. City?
Yes, please.
Mambo vipi?
Very well, thank you. Yes.
Very good. Welcome to Monday.
Thank you.
How was your weekend?
Good. Yes.
What did you do?
You know what I do. Nothing. I work very hard to do nothing.
You chill.
That's the general idea. Sleep in, go for a walk. This weekend I went for walks. It wasn't just one walk. It was several walks.
Those walks.
Yes. The walks are good. The walks
How
are
far?
very good.
How many kilometers?
I don't measure. I can tell you where I went to. Now you can tell me how many kilometers it is.
From where?
From my official residence.
How far? Did you visit William?
I passed by and went beyond.
He wasn't in?
No, I didn't knock. Just greeted the people who one sees around there, but went beyond. And yes, then that's day one. Then another day went the opposite direction. Yes, this place called Valley Arcade.
Yeah,
around that place. It's actually very pleasant to walk. It's pleasant to walk when you have a place to walk on.
Did you have a place to walk on?
I did. For the better part, I did. Yes, I did. I chose the route that had a place.
That has places to walk on.
Yes, exactly. The other ones, man, I can't keep sort of like figuring out whether a motorbike is coming, a bus is coming. That it messes up the walk.
It's crazy.
It's best to deal with human beings. At least you can see the human being. Yes. And
okay.
So the walk, good. And weather was also good.
Fantastic. Ndu?
Yes.
How was yours?
It was all right. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what I did?
No.
I ate a bucket of passion fruit. So this
A bucket.
This actually
How
for
big
real,
is the
and
bucket?
I think now I'm going through passion fruit withdrawal.
Eric,
So this
do you know
is
what
the
you just
story.
heard? Okay, carry on, please.
So the thing is, so a friend of ours has a, what are they called when you have many? Orchard. Thank you. Orchard. And so the passion fruit are in their season. So she's brought a whole bunch of them, and they were delicious.
Ile passion.
So I started, and I could not stop.
Which one? Passion or the
yellow ones?
Those ones.
My friend, the nectar. Ugh.
You know, there are two types.
They're
of
yellow on the outside.
Yeah, there are two types of yellow on the outside. Yes. There is the sweet to the point of almost being sickly sweet. Yellow on the outside. Then there's the other, which is tangy sweet. Yes, but it's also yellow on the outside.
Now this one was sickly sweet.
Yes.
That's all I ate on Saturday.
That's all you were doing?
Yes. I just one after the other.
It's called binge eating.
That's exactly what it was. It was binge eating passion.
An
That
entire
sounds a
bucket.
bit different from the fruit. Yeah, like this.
Okay. Who are you competing with?
Ndu.
Okay. You won, of course.
I did.
Hey, surely. Surely.
It was delicious.
Okay.
That was what I
Congratulations
did.
to your friend.
Huh?
Congratulations to your friend.
She does oranges and passion and mango. But the passion stood out for me, man.
Nice. You like them creepers.
Amazing. How was your weekend?
Mine was good.
Yes?
Yeah, it was chilled out.
Fantastic.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today. At 8 o'clock, we'll be joined by the British High Commissioner to Kenya. His name is Neil Wigan. Neil Wigan has been in the
Wigan,
country.
like that football club.
Yeah, like that football club.
Okay.
Yeah, Wigan Athletic. It belongs to him.
How about we start the rumor mill grinding hard this Monday morning?
That's okay, Eric. No, carry on, Eric.
When he comes, ask him.
Yeah, so, brother,
How far now?
the football team in Atlanta.
I have a young man.
Yes, plays very good football.
He's actually talented.
Talented, very talented. Yes.
Maybe do you have a space for him?
Space, Wigan Athletic. Yes.
He can play for free for a year.
Yes, he can even run because he's Wigan
One or
Athletic.
two in the midst.
Yes, as long as he's just at Wigan.
So Nino Wigan, the High Commissioner of the UK to Kenya, will be joining us at 8 a.m. Next week, a day like this, King Charles III and Queen Camilla will be landing in the country.
When exactly?
Monday next week.
Next week,
Next
Monday.
week, Monday.
It's very good.
They will be coming. The first visit by the royal family to the Commonwealth country is in Kenya. So they'll be here for a couple of days. And so when they come, what are they coming to do? Why here? What do we expect to get from them? So that's what the High Commissioner will be here to tell us the plans. Also, this High Commissioner, before coming to Kenya, he was in Jerusalem as the British ambassador to Israel. So, of course, you've got to throw in one or two questions.
It would really, really be useful for him to give us what you call insight. Insight.
Yes.
Wailing Wall and all that.
You know? Yeah, so that is at 8. At 9, the former governor of Kiambu County will be joining us. His name is?
William
Kabogo. He comes in. Kiambu has just been having issue after issue. I don't know what's going on. So,
unfortunately, those issues seem to always be attached to someone who happens to be leading that county.
Yes.
Unfortunately. Yes.
So there have been threats and counter threats to impeach the current governor of Kiambu. To let Kabogo come. We'll, of course, talk about national politics and what's happening in the country. Sawa. Hiyo ni mambo iko namna hiyo. 18 minutes after 6, Kenya's biggest conversation takes this break. But we're live streaming on YouTube and Facebook as usual. If you're online and you can see us, please tell us so. My name is so-and-so. I can see you so-and-so. And I am in so-and-so, such and such a place. Tell us, and we'll be doing like that shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, 15 degrees and cloudy conditions in Nairobi, highs of 26 and lows of 15. 13 and clear in Nakuru with highs of 25. We'll see highs of 26 and a clear Nyeri, currently at 16, and it's clear through Eldoret at 14 with highs of 24. It's 25 and cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 31 as well. In a partly sunny Malindi already at 24. It's clear at 19 in Kisumu with highs of 30 and lows of 19, and 16 will be the low in a partly cloudy Kakamega at 17, going to highs of 29. It's a rainy morning in Kampala at 19, highs of 29 and lows of 18, and partly sunny at 25 in Dar es Salaam with highs of 31 and lows of 24. It's cloudy at 10 in Johannesburg with highs of 26, and at 26 it's mostly cloudy in Lagos with highs of 30. Kinshasa is cloudy at 23 with highs of 34, and it's a hazy afternoon in Beijing, 18 degrees Monday, highs of 22 and lows of 7. 7 degrees and partly cloudy in Paris with highs of 12, and 9 degrees it's mostly cloudy in London with highs of 15. New York Sunday night is clear at 9, coming into Monday, highs of 13 and lows of 8.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Who's online? We shall find out shortly when Ndu gets back to her seat.
I'm trying to do things here. They're not working. It's called multitasking. And I'm failing miserably. But all right.
Not really.
Good morning, everybody. Moses Nyabura says, good morning from Riverside Park. Ricardo Mariera is tuned in. Kings and Queens, he says, Kitengela is locked. The 2000 is waking up, or rather.
Queens are you?
Well,
He's talking to everybody.
Exactly.
Okay.
Everybody's represented here. Adelaide is where the 2000 is, waking up this morning and wishing everybody a great week ahead. Evans Ntabo says good morning to you all. Jimmy Wekesa says good morning. Good morning, the OGs. CT, what's OG? Come on, tell me.
Well, it sounds like old guard.
Okay, sure, we can go with that.
You have to say something that I can relate to easily.
This is true.
Yes.
It's the OGs.
It's the OGs. Okay. Agri Mamanye says the government has set aside 30,000 cubic meters of El Nino to be patient. Kenyans, great Monday. They set them aside. We're not using them again. Okay. David Adams says, good morning, team. Anthony Onyango is tuned in, says, happy new week to all. A good morning to you all. So the El Nino rain was just a hype? As Desmond is asking. I don't know. George Biketti says, Jumbo Spice, tuned in from the shores of Lake Naivasha, a really beautiful place. Sir George Gashoiri says, good morning, Ndu, Edna, CT, and Eric. Edna Bado. Edna is,
Mumbi.
It's Mumbi this morning.
Yeah.
How is your morning? Rainy and cold? Here it's freezing. Well, where is here? You're in Manchester. Shots of spiced coffee and a good discussion in the Situation Room to warm me up this morning, indeed. Good morning, all. Team, Milele equals superb. Miele. Walala. Okay, so Vesh Musanga says good morning, tuning in from Nairobi. Peter Katam says good morning, Spice, and greetings from York in Pennsylvania. Emmanuel is all the way in New Delhi, and Soulful says good morning, tuning in from Abu Dhabi. Robert Mbogo tuned in this morning, says good morning from Mombasa. Good morning, Sitindu, and Eric says Isaac Babji. Toti Bishop says good morning, Otongolo. Siti, please, now finally I can ask a question. What does Otongolo mean?
10 cents.
It's 10 cents.
Yes. But there is a place in Kisumu. If you are heading in the direction of Siaya, if you are, or by a long route, or you want to go to Luanda Kotieno, which is in, again, Siaya County, the port where you now get a ferry to go to Mbita, then via Anyang Nyongo's constituency, which is called Seme, there's a place called Otonglo.
Hapotu?
10 cents. Tonglo Market.
So Otonglo is a town, is a market?
It's a marketplace, yes.
Everything in the market is it's like the dollar store.
Penny
where everything is 10 cents. It's like the dollar store in the States where everything you get, you walk into the store and everything costs $1.
In an earlier time, when I used to visit the cultural establishments in that particular region,
it was 10 cents.
There were two cultural establishments that were known.
Yeah.
There's one called Beirut.
Yeah.
Why do you laugh?
I don't laugh.
And the other one called Gaza.
Clever man.
Clever man, isn't it? Okay, that's every day is a day for learning, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. Good morning, listening to Spice from Siaya County, a place called Got Janen in Asembo.
Asembo's in Siaya County.
Okay. Zeke says, Hawaii.
How are you?
Okay. Sure. Rural Karaoke says, good morning, tuned in from London, Ontario, Canada. Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. Good morning. January 2003. Public Works Minister on Road Reserves Demolitions. Pot, kettle, black. Sisemi Kitu. Okay. George Salano says, tuned in from El Nino State. Where is that? Okay, quite a number of people tuned in. Jack Awera says, good morning. Good morning, lovely trio. Please call General Miguna to your show. Much love from Lusaka. Okay, that'll be interesting. Good morning from G City. Which one is that one? G City. Do you know where it is? Maestro Eric, Wise Man CT, Queen of Radio, the lovely Ndu. Tell CT next time, knock on his neighbor's door and say, Mr. Tutapanga Tumepanga, and other stories.
Okay.
Sawa.
I will tell my neighbor.
Exactly that. Jeffa says, good morning. Tune into the great conversation already. One Mike says, good morning from Baltimore in Maryland. I can see you all. We see you too. Grace Nyawera is tuned in from Lodwar. Tukondani kabisa sisi watu wa Kisumu dala, hanging out in Edmonton, Alberta in Canada. Oreje Fidel says, good morning. Tuned in, watching from Maseno. And Edwina is here. Francis Wango is here. Samaput says he's watching. Salamia Wiseman City Muga, he's tuning from Moyale, says good morning to you.
Oh, good morning.
Ati, what happened to El Nino? Atayori Liba. Okay, so what's up? Ndu City and Eric exercising from Ruaraka. Mark David tuning from Kasarani. Luca Biero says the OG is the what? The original gangster. Now, see, on Friday when you were wearing that fetching Marvin, would have called you the OG. But there's always time for that. So you wear the Marvin again like tomorrow, different color, and we'll do like that. Alan Mwashi says, good morning, tuning from Eldoret. And says many happy things. In Doncaster, it's 4:30 a.m. That's where Jonathan Gishara is. And he says, good morning.
Good morning,
Jonathan.
Today, somebody left that AC at what? 17 degrees. Why on earth would somebody put the AC at 17 degrees? So you want to be criminal?
You are a criminal.
Surely.
Not to me one.
Mambo ni matatu. Hey, sawa. Sasa tuambie proverb ya leo.
Okay. Leo ni leo. Leo ni leo.
Sijauona.
Sasa tuko Unguja.
Sio
Ugunja. No. Where Pio and I is MP. No, it's not that place. No. This is where Suluhu Hassan
is president.
Yes.
Okay.
Zanzibar.
Unguja.
A very rich history this country has.
Right.
Extremely rich. But a troubled history. Yes. A troubled history that saw the massacre of very many Arabs during the uprising and the emergence of the Afro-Shirazi party and so forth, and attempts at secession.
What uprising was this?
The locals, as they called them, were uprising against the Arabs who actually had dominated Zanzibar from the days of the Omani Arabs. Yes. They were the ones, a minority, but they're the ones in charge. So the gentleman called Okoh, who was then, the name keeps coming up when it comes to these revolutions. Yes. But mostly in Uganda. And he led a group. And that group decided that the best way forward was to massacre those who had been...
Is independence for...
Yes.
The blacks.
Yes, exactly. Okay. The same thing. They felt they had been marginalized, they had been sat on, so they figured that's the best way out. Anyway, long and the short of it, I will be telling the story as we go along. It then eventually decided to be part and parcel of Tanzania. Okay. It is actually a semi-autonomous province of Tanzania. It's a federacy. Okay.
Yes.
Capital is Zanzibar City. Official language is three: Kiswahili, Arabic, and English. Now, this is something I want you to note. The ethnic groups are Swahili, distinct. Arabs, distinct. Hadimu, distinct. Tumbatu, distinct. Shirazi, distinct. These are the 4-5 dominant communities in Zanzibar. Okay. Right. Religion, well, Islam is 99%. The others, like Christianity, 0.5%. Other indigenous religions, which we are told from the West are animists and so forth. Religion, nonetheless, again 0.5. Bas. It is only fitting that if I'm talking about proverbs from Zanzibar, at least for 2 to 3 days, I stated in Kiswahili and then gave the English interpretation. Usually you'll find there's a little miss here and there, but the spirit
of the proverb lives on.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
Translate that and do.
It is better.
Yes. To.
Sheesh, I want to do a direct translation,
Just
but it's
do
going
that.
to sound
Start
terrible.
No, it's better you do direct.
Start with that.
I can't. It just sounds so bad. I know already. It is better to kill the eyes than the heart.
Well, not bad. Yes. It is better to lose your eyes than your heart or soul.
Ah, voila. Okay. It's better to lose your eyes than your soul.
Yes.
Okay.
See?
It wasn't so hard, was it? You actually got it right.
Believe in yourself.
In fits and starts, but you got it.
Okay.
That's a good one. Sawa, we shall look at it in detail. Okay, it's already past. Shall we do the traffic then?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's do traffic and then we'll look at the headlines shortly. This is the Situation Room. It is Kenya's biggest conversation 6:30. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start.
A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away.
Say it in
been low nin inte iyo nin dheer ayuu markhaati ka dhigtaa. You know this character called liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
All right, what are we looking at? Traffic on Okoh Road, getting towards the City Stadium roundabout, touching a little bit on Landis here and there, and then going towards Kamkunji. On the Thika Superhighway, coming in from the Mathare Valley area, out there towards Pangani at the underpass is where we see bumper-to-bumper traffic. And then well beyond that, coming in towards the GSU headquarters, there's traffic. It's building up towards the Outer Ring Junction. That's about the size of it for now, but we know that there will be a build-up as we get closer to traffic hour. We'll be here for it. Let us know what's going on where you are. Let's talk. SpiceFM, KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings.
All right. Headlines.
Okay, tighten belts as Ruto Care comes at an extra cost. There's no belt left. What are we tightening? Tighten belt as Ruto Care comes at an extra cost as a front page headline. Standard.
He took the belt already.
No, hakuna belt bwana. Sasa tuna tighten nini? Hata trouser iko karibu kuisha. 2,475 coming off your pay slip for NHIF. 1,350 for the housing levy. So we're already looking at 3,825 shillings. That one already, in addition to the other things that we're spending money on in terms of taxes before. So, you know, it keeps racking up. A ticking time bomb, that is the Mavoko land issue. So let's see. We also looking at the war in Israel. The Israel-Hamas war has been taken out onto social media. My goodness, did you see some of the videos yesterday that we saw what the Israeli army calls the Iron Belt, and what it's able to do? It's in the sky. It's a weapon of warfare, but it's in the sky and it's able to absorb rockets and destroy them mid-air.
Absorb.
I'm telling you, that's exactly what happens. The rockets, it literally does. It's like it just swallows the thing, destroys it, meza. Next. That's exactly what it looks like. It's ridiculous.
It's like that game. What game was Tetris?
Yeah, Tetris.
Tetris.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's exactly what it looked like from those pictures. The shilling set to breach the 160 shilling mark. CT, where did you say we're going?
200.
200. 160 almost already. I think over the weekend it was trading.
250.
Yeah, over the weekend.
It will follow the fuel.
Indeed. Over the weekend already trading in some parts at 156.
Did we not say fuel get 200?
Indeed.
It did not get to 200. It even outdid itself. It went beyond 200. So.
There were some awards that took place. Kenyans were shining, but Nigerians were reigning. I'm going to leave that for now. Let's go to The Nation. Kenyan phone theft syndicate. It's a big deal here. Many Kenyans admit to having lost their phones to snatchers and muggers on motorcycles, on foot, in matatus or at nightclubs. But the brazen tactics employed by criminals have reached alarming levels, with the stolen devices being flushed? I think flushed is what we're looking for, and smuggled to neighboring countries and a ready market. Every 10 minutes, someone loses a phone to muggers. Every 10 minutes, my goodness. We'll look at the details of that as we go along. So, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, now says we're all equal shareholders. Hii kampuni ni yetu bana.
Sisi wote.
Sisi wote. It doesn't matter where you come from. Sisi wote tuna share what? Tuna sharehold. Now, Ruto says, El Nino, not so much. No, we'll have short rains, but it's not going to be a pounding as we thought. So, the question is, sasa hii pesa yote ambayo walikuwa wameshagawa, watarudisha?
Pesa gani?
Pesa ya kumitigate against El Nino.
Si imeenda kwa infrastructure. Sasa mnataka infrastructure irudishwe.
Actually, this is, you point well made, this is the time to audit the things that the county said they have actually done. See, they've said they were prepared. Yeah. Right. Let us look and see that preparedness, what it looks like.
Tomorrow is Tuesday. The CEC in charge of road works and mobility told us that Nakuru area would be sorted.
You go there today.
Mimi na yeye.
You
bumper
go there
to
today
what?
and tell us tomorrow.
Bumper to bumper.
Yeah.
Takwambia tu. I'll even take picture. Paul Mackenzie was inspired by an Australian cultist, according to the Senate Ad Hoc Committee. Okay, not that that makes it any better, but all right. Looking at some of these other headlines, Pakistani journalist should have survived shooting, says doctors. Remember Arshad Sharif, who was killed it was a year ago already. Wow. He said he could have survived. He had been rushed to hospital after being shot. This according to pathologists. Yeah. On the back page of The Nation, beaten Matano remains at Tusker. It's the sports. And looking at the local sports scene over the weekend. Interesting stuff that was happening. Voila, c'est ça.
Okay. The Business Daily. It says, how Israel-Hamas war will hit Kenya. The war between Israel and Palestinian group Hamas is set to hit Kenya with fresh economic pain as oil prices rise on concerns of a destabilized Middle East and the potential strengthening of the dollar against the shilling as investors run to the safe haven of the U.S. economy. Higher, other headline. NOC, the National Oil Corporation of Kenya, has reached out to the top 3 oil multinationals in the country as it steps up effort to strike a deal with a strategic partner to boost its turnaround plan. I thought they had a partner already.
So we did.
Correspondence seen by the Business Daily shows that NOC wrote to Vivo Energy, Total Energies and Marketing Kenya and Rubis last week as the search for a non-equity strategic partner enters the home stretch. The responses will set the stage for talks with any of the firms and a possible deal to be struck by the end of this month. The oil marketer who clinches the deal is expected to inject at least $5 billion into NOC, helping it revamp the downstream business of the state-owned firm in a bid to end its over-reliance on the treasury. We should look for this man called Kiraito Morongi. He's the chairman of NOC. He should come and tell us what is this now. This man was energy minister when he pumped a lot of money into this same company, NOC. Yeah. And it was to revamp NOC to be a strategic company in the oil marketing sector. Higher. Mombasa port set for fresh dredging on Dar rivalry. The Mombasa port is set for a fresh round of dredging, spooked by similar upcoming access by way of expansion works at the rival Dar es Salaam that risks shifting more business to the gateway of the neighboring country. Higher. Kenya Power starts asset valuation for Ketraco deal. It's starting valuing its transmission line assets ahead of sale and transfer to the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company in line with the cabinet order. So you know that Kenya Power has been maintaining some of those pylons, high voltage transmission lines. But people, come on, they should move. But why are we talking about Kenya Power now selling them to Ketraco? Anyway, did Kenya Power sell its assets to KenGen when KenGen was established?
I don't know.
Because it used to be one huge company called Kenya Power and Lightning Company.
And Lightning, yes.
So when we formed these other agencies, KenGen and Ketraco, did Kenya Power sell the dams?
How did we divvy up those resources?
Anyway. Tanzania has overtaken Kenya on best investment destinations in the region. You go. Gone.
Hey.
It has gone. Or she is gone.
Hiya, City.
Yes.
The Star. You have the East African as well?
Of course. I have East African. I have Star. Top right hand corner in teal green.
Yes.
It looks like our editor-in-chief, editorial director at the Star lost his mom.
Okay.
Mama Ilado's legacy, discipline, generosity, and pillar of the family.
Oh,
Paul, our condolences to you. Yes, we commiserate with you. Right. Now here, there's usually stories at the bottom that you can read. Today, there's none. All you have is
one story at the
transition, then stalemate. Azimio says, refusal to move Sabina as deputy minority whip shows no goodwill. Dialogue standoff over Sabina Chege. Minority leader Wandai has accused Kenya Kwanza of declining to address the issue. Raila says he won't be cowed. False Ruto over Movoko demolitions. All right? That is what we have in the headlines in the Star. Okay? Right. Now, let me look at the East African.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Is SGR raise? No, I'm reading my own things here.
Slowly.
In SGR raise, the president of China is called XI. How do you pronounce it?
She.
Make up your mind, you guys.
She.
Okay, it's she.
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 She is he.
Okay. Gives Addis the attention. Ruto's plan slowed by failure by his peers to sign on the coast-to-coast rail project as China finds Abiy, that is Prime Minister President of Ethiopia, creditworthy and strategic.
Prime Minister President.
No, that was me thinking aloud. Exactly.
Okay.
Prime Minister.
It's Prime Minister.
See, I knew it was one of the two.
But you can have it.
The president is that lady who was here at the UN in Nairobi.
Prime Minister.
Yes.
See, I wasn't far. See, that's what you call hedging your bet. Just mention, okay? So, the huyo. Okay.
It's got to land somewhere.
Okay, it looks like President XI of
SH.
She.
Of China. I'm not risking that thing.
She of China.
Or Chi of China. Right, looks like he has said, these Ethiopians can do a better job with this thing that we have in mind.
They're more attractive.
No, credit-worthy and strategic. The words used.
They gather goods.
Yes. These guys are... So we are not credit-worthy, neither are we strategic. Okay? U.S. proposed rules for Congo mission. Okay, U.S. is proposing something about the Congo mission. This thing that has been bothering us for the longest time. Biden pegs resource donation on adoption of regulations against misconduct. Okay, this one, it's been tried before. We know how that one went.
Yeah.
It's been tried. In Congo.
So, Ati, resource donation means what?
On adoption.
That people are going to...
You adopt regulation, then resource is donated. Resource donation on adoption of regulation.
Which resources? Congolese resources?
No. Their resources, but against misconduct. You see, it's now prefect again. If you behave, we will give you money. If we don't behave, we will not give you money. Okay? Let me read it. Biden pegs resource donation on adoption of regulations against misconduct. Meaning, you have to have rules that tell people, walk left, not right. Stand up, don't sit, that sort of thing. Yes. So these Africans can behave themselves. How dare they? Bothering civilized nations with their dismount. Okay. Washington says any redirection of monies should only happen if new mission buys into the new regulations. You are going to give that money. These guys are going to use it the way they like. So you just decide to give them money or not give them. Yes. They'll tell you they're going to do exactly what you've said. Then they'll do exactly what they want.
Yeah, exactly.
So decide. You want to give them the money, give them the money. But they will do exactly what they want. It's not complicated. Even us, we do the same here. You give us money, we tell you we're going to do this, then we do exactly what we
wanna do.
Yes. But at least us, sometimes we even start the project. And then, just so that the project works, we set a committee to decide whether they can also set up a working group to ensure.
Then when we finish, we set up a task force.
That's exactly. Now, the task force is to ensure that these two groups have actually done a good job before we actually embark.
Yeah.
Then you choose a committee that is going to lay the foundation stone. That's
then we talk about it.
Yes. So by the time you actually put up the building, we'll have gone through something like 10 committees.
and a couple of task forces.
And all these people are paid.
Of course.
Okay.
To sit.
So your money is well used. You cannot say we did not give it a thorough look through.
You really cannot say.
No. We are diligent. And we'll have documentation.
Right.
Sterling, pristine documentation, which will indicate our intention. They will tell you that money was not enough. Just
now, in order for us to complete the conversation,
so we can do the M&E
properly. Yes.
So we need now more money to do M&E.
Because without M&E,
then now project phase is implementation.
Yeah. I'm also laughing because there's another headline here. Opinion on page 16 of the East African. Is an opinion piece by Joachim Buembo. Buembo is a Kampala-based journalist. He's talking about Ugandans preparing themselves to go to Paris for the Olympics next year. Okay. How do you say thank you?
Merci.
In French.
Merci.
Sorry. In French. How do you say asante sana in French?
Merci beaucoup.
Okay. How do you write beaucoup?
Biocoup.
B-A-U-C-O-U-P. B-E-A-C-O-U-P.
In Uganda, they're writing Merci B-U-K-U.
Beaucoup.
They've got it right.
Or even going beyond that, I'm writing Merci B-I-K-U. Biku. Biku in Luganda is bedbugs.
And they're going to Paris.
I'm going to Paris. Get it?
Hey. I love it.
Very nice.
Very nice. So, Mackenzie apparently was inspired by Australian cultists, according to members of parliament. So there's an ad hoc committee, one of those ones that you mentioned, CT. An Australian cult linked to controversial preacher Paul Mackenzie has been taken to task over questionable kidney donations, according to reports seen by The Nation. Mr. Mackenzie and his wife, who are leaders of the Jesus Christians group, have been accused by a Senate committee of inciting religious extremism in the country that led to the deaths of over 400 people in Shakahola, Kilifi County. So 426 is the number that we're looking at today. An independent search by Nation. Mind you, we still do not have the updated numbers. We're still waiting to hear. In level 5 of exhumation, where are we today? So an independent search established that Dave and Sherry McKay have been accused of brainwashing their believers into donating their kidneys to complete strangers under suspicious circumstances. They also drained their followers' bank accounts and separated them from their families. The Senate ad hoc committee that's investigating the Shakahola deaths and is chaired by Tana River Senator Danson Mugatana mentioned the McKays in this report, claiming that Mackenzie was indoctrinated by their teachings. Now, according to this report, they also said that, they used to have Zoom meetings, virtual links, and they reached out to foreigners, and they're in this cult, which they called the Voice in the Desert. Furthermore, it's alleged that he hosted their associate in Makongeni, Nairobi City County, who delivered anti-government summons, particularly stating that the Huduma number was the mark of the beast. You see now, the connection like that. So, the associate allegedly urged followers to abandon earthly possessions and follow Mackenzie to the promised land, which is now Shakahola. Reports show in the early 2000s, the McKays and their followers hit headlines across Australia and the UK over questionable organ donations, particularly kidneys. According to the reports at the time, the group's members from Kenya, Britain, the US and Australia had donated their kidneys as part of their desire to live selflessly, following teachings by the cult. These occurrences led to the group to be referred as the kidney cult. The believers donated their organs secretly, as their kin, who were interviewed by journalists, said they suspected that they had been brainwashed. So all this long story to say that the ad hoc committee has now made a connection between Mackenzie and this cult. Now, they are also going on to allude that there's possibility of certain organ donation or organ trafficking business happening between Mackenzie, Shakahola, and these other people. Do you understand now where the connection is? Now, it has been mentioned in the interim report by the ad hoc committee, but of course they're saying further investigations are needed to be able to establish exactly what happened. Remember that Danson Mungatana had told us that by Thursday last week we would have been able to get something. Give me some time, be patient. And so let's see what happens. So these are some of the things that are starting to come out. But even with that, we are no closer to any kind of established report than we were a week ago.
I can tell you for free, Mungatana committee report, it will not even be hot air.
It will not even be tepid air.
Nah.
Nothing mind-blowing.
Like
not going to tell you anything.
Wind.
You here, probably here,
balloon.
We in this room probably have more information as to what happened in Shakahola than the ad hoc committee.
What are they supposed to be investigating, by the way, this Senate committee? They're investigating what happened in Shakahola, or are they investigating the religious sector in general?
Or are they investigating Mackenzie?
What are they doing? What is it?
It's a very good question. Thank you for that question.
What's the terms of reference?
They're actually supposed to find out what happened with Mackenzie in Shakahola. That is it. I don't know that they were the best folks to do it, but okay. Who am I?
It's a waste. It's a
waste of
time.
resources, waste of time, because the truth of the matter is that they're going to come and tell us that the cow crossed the street.
There was a man called Mackenzie. This man moved from Malindi and went and established some in Shakahola.
And 425 people have died. And we're still investigating.
And we need further investigations. State agencies like the DCI should investigate what happened.
And we're still exhuming more bodies.
And the ODPP should take stand.
I said the three of us in this room can tell you what is going to be on that report at the end of next week.
Bure.
Boo-ray.
Deputy President Rigiji has recanted his controversial remarks that the Kenya Kwanza government operates like a limited liability company whose supporters are the major shareholders and who should get a bigger piece of the national cake. In an apparent change of heart, Gachagua said he agreed with President Ruto that leaders should move on from last year's elections and focus on development. He spoke on Saturday night at the Nyeri Golf Club during a meeting with business people, professionals and leaders from Mount Kenya, and whose aim was consolidating the region's support for President Ruto's administration. He sponsored the Mount Kenya Golf Festival, whose key agenda is to harness unity among all leaders from the region. From where my boss, that is Dr. Ruto, and I sit, from where William Ruto and I sit, the elections are over and we want all Kenyans to unite for the sake of development of this country. An election is like a sport, with winners and losers, and should not cause any enmity among Kenyans. He pledged to continue engaging with Azimio, One Kenya leaders in Mount Kenya, and persuade them to rally behind Ruto's development agenda. The President and I want everybody to speak the same language so that we entrench development without anybody looking down upon anyone. It's unnecessary and unhelpful because we all want to move in the same direction. Many people caused us harm in the run-up to the elections, but we opted not to retaliate after we clinched power. I'm asking all the people of Mount Kenya to rally behind Ruto's government. I'll continue persuading the 13% of people from the region who voted for Azimio to support our government.
What are we doing? We are censuring the Deputy President for simply speaking the simple truth about our country. It's not just with the ruling government. No. People support political candidates in the hope that they will gain. It's not that they support them so that they can be benevolent and helpful to people. No, if they're businessmen, they support hoping that some government business will come their way.
That they'll get the lion's share.
Exactly. If not the lion's share, at least a leopard.
At least it'll be faster than a leopard's share. Or a tiger.
Or a tiger. But a tiger is bigger than a lion. You don't realize this. That's why I wasn't going the tiger route. But then consider also, if you want to understand it, look at how political parties work. When you hear people being nominated, it isn't an inky-pinky ponky situation, all right? Or whoever draws the longest, the shortest straw. No.
You know the thing is,
yes, please.
Why people have their knickers in a twist is because he said it openly.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's the thing that everybody thinks, but Rigiji is the guy who says what you're thinking, but you're not going to want to say it. It's the truth. He says the thing that everybody knows to be the situation.
It is the simple truth.
But people are just, oh my God, he said it out loud.
So it's a shareholding business.
It is a shareholding business. It has always been a shareholding business.
And it was going to be that whoever is in power.
Yes,
Even if Azimio won.
It doesn't matter.
That's the way it has been.
It is going to be the people, supporters of Azimio,
yes,
first get all the positions.
Yes.
And then those now who start collaborating, they start
maybe given something, maybe considered.
As a reward.
Yes, exactly. Maybe not directly, but a relative of yours might be given something, that sort of thing.
People are just doing because he said it out loud.
The deputy president spoke an eternal truth. You cannot run away from it. That is one of the most honest thing a politician in this country has ever said.
Is it a global truth or is it just
It is a global truth. In fact, in the West, it is out in the open. There's even no pretense about it. For instance, if you look at, say, the Senate and the House of Representatives in the US, the budget they have for office staff, you just employ relatives. You don't even apologize for it. See, the people you want to work with. What's the biggie?
And I've told you in advance.
The truth of the matter. Why do you have lobbyists? Why do you have the institutionalization of lobbying? So that you can be favored. If we want to live in pretend land, let's go ahead and live in pretend land.
And that's the thing. Look, he verbalized a very ever-present thought in the minds of many people. And it's not a thought, it's a reality. Lived experience, you call it? That is the case. That, you know what? It is expected that once you get into a position of power and influence, that the very people who will benefit from that are those who are closest to you, or those whom you can call allies.
Yes.
But we've always kept it on the DL. Like, okay,
You
we understand what it is. But you know what he said? He opened his mouth and said it. Now everybody's like, oh, chagrin. What?
You know this audit we keep talking of, we're going to look at government institutions and see my friend, it's not difficult to figure out. If there was someone from a community who headed an institution for the longest time, the majority of people will have come from his community. It's something that we live with. Now, having admitted that is the case, then, and we want to sort of like right-size it, that ought to be the discussion. But that is our lived reality currently. It is our reality.
Oh, you waited for Gachagua to bow to pressure, and now you come and support him. You should have supported him when he was out there fighting in the trenches.
No.
Why were you silent, City?
I wasn't silent.
When Rigiji was saying these things.
I wasn't silent.
When everybody was hammering Rigiji left, right, and center.
He didn't need the support then. He needs it now.
Now he's already left the field.
He needs it now.
Rigiji was right. The man is already Okoh bruised.
No, he's right.
The referee has blown
his way
the
to the hospital.
This is where now the balm and the soothing words he'll know at a point. At that particular point, he was embattled, man.
That's when he needed you.
No. Now is the time. Now is the time.
He needed your support when he was out there battling.
Deputy President.
Now he has been hit even by his own boss. He's been told, mtu kona akili mzuri. Haezi sema kitu kama hiyo.
What are we saying? Can we look at track records for heaven's sake? You're talking about employment and appointments. Let's look at track records.
Let's look at history. That is not so far down the line.
It's not difficult to look at.
You people, where were you when Rigiji was saying this?
Ezio Kubundu. It's true.
Anyway, we'll continue this conversation shortly. Hey, surely.
Truth is life.
Minority shareholders. When they've been roped in, they'll start saying, but you were right.
I mean,
7 a.m.
Sugar and spice and everything I know.
up your life.
Good morning, this is Newsweb Dennis Aseto. There is no more El Nino rains, says the government. President William Ruto revealed that the meteorological department indicated that there will be enhanced rains but not El Nino as earlier announced.
Juzi mulisikia tukawa na habari pengine kutakuwa na El Nino ambayo itaharibu kule, itaharibu mali ingine, lakini Mungu ni nani? Mmesikia wale watu wamesema tena ile El Nino haitakuweko, wamesema kutakuwa tu na mvua kubwa lakini haitafika pale ya kuharibu. Sisi tunamshukuru Mungu jameni.
This is happening at a time when plans have been designed by various leaders on how to manage El Nino, billions of shillings being allocated for the same.
We already have an estimation of about 8 billion shillings. You can imagine by the time the others come, will probably be 15 billion shillings that will be required to fund this El Nino preparedness.
We are appealing to those living in low-lying and flood-prone areas to move to higher grounds. On the other hand, we would like to urge our farmers, especially those with grains to harvest, and store their produce early, and where possible, sell to those who are willing to buy.
The national government, under the chairmanship of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, estimated to spend approximately 10 billion shillings in dealing with the effects of the El Nino rains. Now, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says that the government has found new markets for coffee and that 4 billion shillings have been allocated to ensure that farmers get paid. Speaking in Nyeri County, Gachagua added that the government's efforts to bring about changes in the coffee sector have been met with opposition from cartels and middlemen in the sector.
Wanakataa kununua kahawa, wakae naye ati ndio tuachane na hiyo mabadiliko, na walifanya hivyo mwaka wa 2019. Serikali ikaigiza baridi ikawakubalia kuendelea, wakafanya hivyo 2020. Sasa hii tumesema hakuna, kama mtaki kununua ni sawa. Tumetafuta pesa ya serikali 4 billion na tuko na ingine bilioni 2. Sasa tunapanga saa hii waziri ya ushirika na Madenge uende ukae na Chelugui, kesho nitamwambia mpange vile hii pesa itafika kwa mkulima direct.
It should be noted that farmers have now started to harvest their coffee, but there is no market after the agents disagreed with the government. Earlier this year, the government revoked the licenses of coffee buyers, Gachagua accusing them of penalizing efforts to make changes in the sector. Currently, coffee buyers will come from the United States. Farmers are expected to be paid more than 80 shillings per kilo.
Tumefanya mpango na rais. Mimi namshukuru rais, aliongea na balozi wa Marekani, amekuja tumeketi na balozi wa Marekani Meg Whitman ametupangia wanunuzi wa kahawa wenyewe wale wako Umarekani wanaitwa Starbucks, wanakuja hapa kuonana na rais na mimi wakiwa wakinunua kahawa yetu direct.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has warned that all public officers who hold offshore accounts illegally risk hefty fines or jail terms if they do not comply with the set regulations. In a communique, the anti-graft body reiterated Article 76(2) subsection A of the Constitution, which dictates that a public officer shall not open or continue to operate a bank account outside Kenya without EACC's approval. Additionally, the account holder is required to submit annual bank account statements to EACC no later than 31st of January of each year. In the case of any closure, the Commission shall be furnished with evidence within 30 days. And as KPSEA, KCPE and KCSE candidates are expected to start writing their exams next week, Education PS Bailey Kipsang has given an assurance that security will be beefed up in areas prone to insecurity. It says security officers have already been deployed in the troubled areas.
On the issue of security and the areas that have been having challenges, I would want to give you our assurance. We've had quite a lot of consultation with my colleague Raymond in charge of internal interior and national administration, and I can assure you that as government we are properly aligned and that all this will be dealt with in a way that it will not interfere with the examination. Our colleagues at the Ministry of Interior, they have mapped out areas that requires critical attention. We worked with all arms of government There are quite a number of helicopters on our disposal.
The death toll in Gaza since October 7th has risen to 4,651, with more than 14,245 wounded, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza. A spokesperson for the ministry, Dr. Ashraf Al-Qidra, said during the past 24 hours, 266 people had been killed, including 117 children. This is Newswire. Dennis Oteta, good morning.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, we're getting into it this Monday morning. Traffic coming off of Kiambu Road, and it's quite heavy as you're touching on Muthaiga Square. Coming off of Thika Superhighway as well, we'll see some of that build up getting into the CBD. All right, are you coming off Jogo Road? You also see some traffic as you get towards Landis and then through to the Kamkunji roundabout. But that's normal, nothing out of the ordinary, at least not for now. All right, it's building in Westlands. It's building coming in from James Gishoro, Gitanga Road, all the way through to Mzima Springs and then out towards James Gishoro, spilling over towards Waiaki Way. There's some traffic there and it's going to do the thing this Monday morning. So let's keep an eye out for that. It looks good coming off the Lekoni interchange through towards the Southern Bypass. But that quadrant of Lunga Lunga, Likoni, Lusaka is doing the business this morning, and it's going to get heavier as we get closer to traffic hour. Kangunda Road is busy, as is Manyanja Road, touching on Jogo Road, and there's also some traffic coming onto Juja Road, getting into the city. Monday morning is abuzz with activity. Let's keep an eye on things. Let's know what's going on with you. SpiceFM KE on X.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
How are you doing? Welcome to the second hour of the Situation Room. Happy Monday. This Sunday is finally happening.
It is. This coming Sunday is the 29th of October. What does that mean? The Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon is here finally, and excuse me.
Bless you.
If you finally have the opportunity to register, I'm not sure quite what the cutoff. We're going to find out what that is, but you have to wait on a certain time before you're able to then register. But hey, get on to www.nairobimarathon.com. Do it today and see how you can register to take part in the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon that takes place next Sunday. The virtual run happens this week, and so you have a chance to get your name on the leaderboard with your numbers in terms of what you will be running for. We're looking towards a fantastic day where we can run in different categories, but then also make sure that beyond our running, that the proceeds from this go towards the Future Makers program, which makes sure that young people, especially girls and people living with disability, get the chance to earn, to learn, and to grow. So it's a great day for running, and it's also a great day for making sure that those who need the help can get the help.
Yes, indeed. And the virtual run starts today.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, if you registered and you'd like to participate in the virtual run of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon's 20th edition, you can start today. You clock your time on the leaderboard today, you're good to go. Tonight at 8:30, something else is happening on Maisha Magic Plus on DSTV and GoTV. This is the premiere of a new show called Zari. What is it about?
Okay, so you know what? There is a guy and two women. One woman falls pregnant. I don't know. It doesn't really fall pregnant.
There is a guy and two women. Are you recreating the Garden of Eden?
What, were there two women in the Garden of Eden?
What I'm wondering. There's just one. But anyway, go on.
I don't even know where you're going with this, but all right. So there's a gentleman. And so he says he's in love with two women. You know how I love you, Sisi, I love you too. Things like that. So one woman is pregnant. The fella decides that he's going to go to this other woman to get money to take this first woman to. So the story unfolds or begins to unfold with how he's trying to make the explanation as to how he's going to go into this wonderful engagement. And so that's how the drama begins. And you can watch it tonight. You can watch it tomorrow night, and then Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. It's unfolding. You've got to catch this. It's DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 3. Prepare to be dazzled. You can download the My DSTV app on *423# or the My GoTV app and get and stay connected.
That's like that.
Yes.
Get and stay connected. Very good. You've just heard in the news what's happening in the coffee sector. So first, the deputy president comes and says, you know what, coffee, it's my mission. If nothing else, I'll sort out this coffee mess. Big time. I am going to clean up the mess. My late brother started it. I came in and joined as member of parliament. Now I'm deputy president. Small time cartel. Small business. He even hosts coffee conference in Meru, where the governor of Embu comes and says, you know what, we're only dealing with less than 5. These cartels, less than 5 entities.
We can't even tell you who they are.
We can't even tell you who they are. We know them. Everybody knows them.
By name.
In fact, people in the Ministry of Agriculture know them. Mede Kalinturi was there. He's like, hey, wait. Surely, we know them.
Even
no, let's not start rumors. People in the Ministry of Agriculture don't know these people. If you know them, you tell us. The guy stands and says, whoever they are, whether they are known, they are not known, I will find them out. I will extinguish them from the face of the earth.
Here we go.
A few months later, you know these cartels.
They're powerful.
Hey, they are powerful. They are only 2, 3. They are powerful.
They've reduced from 5 to 3.
They are powerful. These ones are giving us a tough time. But let's see what we are going to do. So now we are seeing over the weekend, the same Reggie has come and said, you know, this cartel, we're actually now just pleading with them. So why you don't have to eat everything? You cartels, you know.
Surely.
Yeah, you know, you don't have to eat everything. Just leave us something. And in fact, now we have another way, you know. I cannot fight those cartels. They're even trying not to take our coffee, to take to Okoh Umerikani. But the ambassador of America to Kenya, Meg Whiteman, she's done something. She's bringing the big coffee company. It's called what? Starbucks.
It's coming here.
They are taking our coffee.
So
direct.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So this cartel, at least you leave us this one at least. This one is ours. You can sell to Starbucks. Now you do your own business. Less than a year into this war. And Gachagua said, hey,
how are we to read this really? Because it isn't as though the coffee sector started yesterday. And it isn't as though those who are the big dealers in coffee are not known. Even simple minds like mine know a few names.
Because are they among the 5?
Yes.
Or the 3?
Or the 2. It's like asking me, do I know the people who deal in tea, the big tea firms? Yes, I know who they are. Yes. It's public knowledge. It's not as though someone went out of their way to ensure that it remained a state secret. Yes. Now, the issue here is the problem. Whenever there's a problem, it means the farmer is being shortchanged.
Yep.
That's what it means.
Yep.
Okay. Now, this coffee conversation has been, every now and then it makes its, flash on the stage. We talk about it and then disappears. And then it comes back every now and then. It was clear that at some point, coffee farmers uprooted their coffee bushes and said, you know what? forget this thing. We cannot, because at the end of the day, this product is exported and we always get the short end of the stick. It doesn't make sense to make such an investment and then we disappear. They spoke of what? The big C, cartels in here running this thing. Then brings about the question, what really is the problem with the coffee sector? And then now we see that the Deputy President, again, talking about his late brother having been at the forefront of fighting for coffee farmers, etc., etc. What is the problem? And what is it that they want to do? Are we trying to revive the coffee sector again in the country and say, look, it is about time that we go back to the place where now coffee is being exported? Are we then talking about value-added services? Because we do know that Kenyan coffee, as was when it was really robust in terms of a sector, that coffee would leave Kenya and it would find its way back into retail shelves, Kenyan coffee under a different name. So what is it now? To revive the sector, to make sure that exports now come back up there, to also make sure that the value-added proposition remains in the hands of Kenya. What is the Deputy President fighting for? What is anybody who's fighting for coffee in the country currently fighting for?
Value.
And what is going to make it possible?
Value for the farmer, all right? And then beyond that, value for the country in the entire value chain. So the farmer is on one end of the value chain. They are growing the thing and they're selling the berry. Now, can we have other entrants into this value chain who can do value addition at some level in the country normally, right? Can we not? Can we? If you ask Festus Mwangi wa Ujuri, when he was agriculture minister, that was his brief from the President Uhuru Kenyatta. He was removed. Peter Munya, if you ask Peter Munya, that was what he was supposed to do. He even talked about tough about, the coffee sector. We're going to have all those stories were said. Rigathi Gachagua
came in.
Talked
even tougher.
Even in the campaigns, he picked on an issue that was big, because that was an issue that was big in the coffee growing areas of this country. That's why even Uhuru had taken it up and was like, okay, I can hear the cries of coffee farmers. That's why he told all his agriculture ministers, do this thing. Okay? Mwangi Njoroge was removed ostensibly because he was not able to deal with that coffee story. This man called Peter Munya was brought in because now he could deal with this coffee story. Munya out. We have another Meru man called who? Medeka Linturi. He's the Minister for Agriculture. His brief is as well to revive this thing, but Gachagua told me, you deal with maize, deal with planting onions,
Zambia, agriculture.
You can do agriculture. Coffee, niwachie. Yo, leave it to me. Now here we are.
It was left to him.
Now he's saying, you go cartel. See, at least tuachie kitu kidogo. Tuuzie Starbucks.
Let me ask you something. You know, there are these unseen, mysterious things that people don't actually... They have heard that they exist, but they've actually never really seen them. You know, there's a phenomena, the Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster. Not really sure if they exist, but there are tales of them. These cartels... they're run by human beings, Kenyans, even some foreigners, as they say. They're operating inside. Have people seen them? Do people know who they are? Because my take is that it is very clear that this cartel coffee story is often used to woo people in as per the one who will listen to me. When I come in and I shout and I say, yes, I'm going to deal with the cartels, I'm going to make sure that coffee becomes a viable industry once again, etc., etc., etc. What have I done? I've grabbed your attention momentarily. And you're going to listen to me and say, okay, finally, the Messiah for coffee has come and something is actually going to happen. And then after some time, the realization now slaps you in the face and you say, actually, you know what? Meanwhile, I've already established my position. But I come and tell you, you know what? These cartels, actually, at the end of the day, they're actually more powerful than
these cartels.
And there's really nothing that we can do about it.
This one.
Wash. It's the same principle that you see that we're speaking about lands the other day when you say, we're going to clean up the lands. Meanwhile, you know the people who are sorting out that, and I say sorting, not in a good way. Then we come and say, yes, cartels are ruling the streets when it comes to coffee. And it's, who are they? Are they not individuals? They are. Are they not individuals who are running companies? You know who they are, as CT says. You know who these people are.
Yeah.
What is the desire? If the desire to clean up the industry truly then does not exist, then forget about it. All of this just remains talk. Even this Starbucks that people are talking about, leave some for us. Who is it that you're asking to leave some for you? Who? When you go and ask for permission, please just give us a little bit so that we can sell to Starbucks and make some money. Who is it that you're asking this permission of? Who are these people? And what is it that they have done that is so that is so ominous, that is so scary that you dare not touch them? Once you start to answer those questions, or rather, until and unless you're ready to answer those questions and tackle this thing head on, don't waste our time. Don't. Just let's talk about something else. Like you said, in fact, it's true. Let's talk about tomato. Let's talk about looking for,
farming land in Zambia.
Go and plant maize in Zambia and Zimbabwe and Malawi. Then let's talk about growing alternative source of sustenance apart from maize. Let's talk about those things. Let's talk about GMO. Let's talk about those things. Because guess what? The farmers, they've already uprooted their bushes. You've had this conversation with them for years. Even before I came to this country, I've been hearing these conversations where people have been saying, you know what? We can't do this anymore. I cannot invest my entire life in a coffee bush and it gives me nothing. I cannot fend for myself. I cannot send my children to school. And then you tell me to keep farming it. What I mean,
but why
there's
is
no
it,
desire to clean it up.
Why is it not valuable to the farmer? Coffee is still one of the most traded commodities in the world.
And that's the thing.
One of the most lucrative commodities in the world. It's big business globally. All right? So probably Gachagua has just discovered that what he calls coffee cartel, he thought it was just some local guys here who can tell, I'm the deputy president. And they're like,
stop that thing
oh my God. He realizes that this thing is well and deep-rooted.
But what happened to them?
It's a global thing. There's a global coffee cartel. Everybody knows this.
This is it.
But that global coffee cartel always needs the crop. They need the coffee berry to trade. They're not cartels of farmers.
What happens with any kind of middleman situation? What really happens is that I go to UCT, I know that you have the berry, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know the person on the other side who has the cash, who's ready to buy. But I also need to make something in the meantime. And me and this person are going to control this narrative because you're desperate, aren't you? And that's the thing. Cartels, by nature, prey on the desperation of the one who's producing.
But how come this desperation is not spreading across? How come that his advantage is not spreading across all the coffee growers in the world? What is it?
Or look at a competitive product, a beverage called tea. How come you don't hear the same hoo-ha in the tea industry? Why? It has problems, but not on this scale. This one of coffees is stratospheric. It's something else. So you have to ask, what really is going on? And why is it that it always becomes a big issue? It didn't start yesterday, as Eric was saying.
There are people, and there are few of them, who are controlling. It's clear.
There are people,
there are very few.
And there are few of them who have been allowed. Because that sector is structured. You even have a board. It's under the Ministry of Agriculture. It's like every other thing that is produced in this country. It isn't something independent that just does its own things the way it sees fit. If you're talking about the cartels, the really major cartels, you have to ask the question, why is it that you would find that coffee is traded in countries who don't even grow the coffee? I was about to say something rude, then I held my tongue.
Okay.
Same with tea. Why? The tea story changed. So the trading of tea is no longer in those countries. Why is it that you'll find that countries, again, who don't even grow the stuff, export it in large quantities, and you're wondering, hiya, what sort of magic is this? You're talking cartel. It's the value add. The story of the value add has been there from time immemorial. It's like we're only allowed to roast the beans. Thereafter, kangumu. Now, Kirinyaga University did something better. We know we've drunk that coffee.
Yes.
Very delightful coffee. Why is it that every time we talk about the value add, it's a story and just dies? It's a story and it just dies. Is it for lack of capacity? Of course not. It isn't for lack of capacity. Now, that cannot happen without the involvement of the government.
That's it.
The cartels cannot exist. These cartels we speak of in whispers cannot exist without the involvement of the government. And I'm using the word involvement deliberately. People who are in government who are supposed to ensure that the regulations are followed do not do their job. What they do is talk about cartels. It's as though when you talk about cartels, you'll have solved the problem. So you have to ask the question, now that the Deputy President began his quest to sort out this thing, what has happened? Because he's government. What happened to all these other people who are in the sector? You know, Kenya benefited on 2 occasions that I remember. When Uganda was at war, Uganda was our main competitor when it came to coffee production. During the Idi Amin period, you could not export coffee in the way you used to. So we Kenyans, with our enterprising nature, we took full advantage of this. It was what we call the coffee boom. And coffee was gold. People made a ton. Then there's a period when every once in a while you hear there's frost in Brazil. Or some of these countries where coffee is grown in mountainous areas. And the frost now sort of like hinders the production. So again, we benefit. We don't have frost. We know what it means, but we don't have it. Okay? Now, by the time somebody who has made a livelihood, a living out of coffee, decides to uproot his... What do you think this person knows? And what have they gone through to come to the conclusion that, look, it is not worth my while?
As in, for them, they've already seen the thing from through, and they know that it is going to get worse if not. If anything, it will get worse.
As a farmer of a cash crop myself, why is it that I don't no longer grow sugarcane? Because it's a complete waste of time.
And that's the thing. You see, even for the cartel would like to have access to a farmer. Okay? And this is where I'm at a loss. The biggest coffee producer in this country is the smallholder farmers brought together.
Yes, in everything that we speak of, yes.
Then the others are now those private tea estates.
Yes.
And they have the millers, they are the marketers and all. So this whole accusation of, the millers also are acting as marketers, so they're part of the cartel. I actually do not think the cartel is a Kenya thing.
No.
I think the cartel is a global thing. There's a whole bigger thing. But instead of confronting it and saying, all right, so how do we deal with this? We cow from it.
You see, that's
and I don't think you just cow from it. You are enticed to step back.
The biggest
and maybe the making of the noise was basically a negotiation.
You're right, Eric. The biggest consumers of our coffee is not us. It's other people. You see, countries like India and China produce more tea than we do, but they consume most of it. So that's what gives our tea a fighting chance. The Western world, as we know it, don't produce coffee.
No.
But they consume it.
A lot of it.
So if they are the ones who have the buying power who buy it, they are the ones who are likely to have a bigger say than we do in some of these matters. Now, unless we negotiate it otherwise.
I don't think you have a choice but to include. The thing is, if you really want to look at a sector then that will be robust in terms of its production and robust then in terms of its activity here in Kenya and then for the global stage, you cannot. I mean, there's nowhere where it's done. Farmers, protectionist policy for farmers, there's nowhere where it's not done. Because guess what? If they are not, small farmers who own the land, who plant the crop, who grow the crop, you cannot but involve them in the process. You can't, because like you said, you can be on this side of the world saying that we are exporting and we're doing business with it, but where is it coming from? The person who owns the berry, the person who produces the berry. If you do not involve them in this process, and then also compensate them adequately for what it is that they are growing, how then would you not have the kinks and the stops in the flow of this particular sector? That this is the reason, this is the problem, why you continue to see the flare-ups in the sector over time is this very same thing. That the farmer is not being involved, the farmer gets the short end of the stick, and the farmer burns down the crop. At some point uproots the crop and says, you know what, we can't do this anymore, so forget about it. That's the thing. You don't protect your farmers, you will have an industry that continues to be ridden by hiccups.
Maybe the cartel is actually not feeling that kind of a hit. Maybe they still have sufficient, from their own matrices, the kind of coffee that they want to get from Kenya versus other places, they still are getting. We can do with a dip of this much, it's okay. We are still, as long as this game is not disrupted, we're fine. But the fact that the deputy president came on to this and said, I am going to deal with it. And then less than a year into it, he is already saying, I've given up. I cannot deal with this. It's a big one. We saw the former president doing the same. The former president said, I'm going to sort out this coffee business. This coffee and tea sector, we are going to sort it out. He took it on head on and said, I'm going to forget this man called Njoroge. Now let's bring in Peter Munya. He's going to sort it out. He left office. That issue was not sorted. It's been many years of people campaigning to have the issue of coffee sorted. The reason it's not getting sorted is a deep one.
You know, Ethiopia exports more coffee than we do.
Yes, they do.
They are the largest exporter of coffee on this continent.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
How come we don't hear problems of the sort we have in Ethiopia? How? You see, one could say, well, you know, their government, their politics, the way it is, I'm sure they have their problems. But let me go back to what I was saying earlier on. Given that the agricultural sector and every other sector in this country, with regards to things export, the government has a very big say. If you ask me, the stumbling block in all this is the government, or those who are in charge, or those who have a say in this sector. Because if it's the sugar sector, it is them who allow imports to come in. If it is the coffee sector, it is them who, everything about what we are discussing here, if the government puts its foot down and says this is not going to happen, it won't happen. But it happens, doesn't it? Yes. Brazil produces something like, exports what, $6 billion worth of coffee every year. The only time you hear of coffee problems in Brazil is when there's frost. Otherwise, ours is the very thing you said and do. The small-scale farmer is being taken advantage of, as he is in other sectors. And yet, he is the largest. If grouped together, they produce the largest. All these estates like Runda, those are coffee estates. As you move along, people gave up.
They did.
Yes. Because the farmer could see with clarity, this one, I am not going to make sense out of this. And they gave up. If the government seriously wants to solve this problem, they will solve it. What we are engaged in now is a sort of, is it dog and pony show? What sort of show is it called?
Yeah, dog and pony.
Yes, where we are entertained by tough talk and tough suggestions and promises here and this here. But what needs to be done is not complicated, and they know what needs to be done.
Yeah, but what's in it for them?
Precisely.
What are they getting?
Yes, so. And so long as what they're getting means that the so-called farmer will be disadvantaged, the farmer will continue being disadvantaged.
Yeah.
But the farmer will be clothed with a lot of promises. And he'll be told that things that are likely to happen.
At least now you shall get to sell your coffee to Starbucks.
Yes.
Because Meg Whiteman has brought them. Come on. 27 minutes to 8. Let's take this quick break. Take a look at the weather and traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's critical that people pay taxes. But then taxation has to have a limit. When you start overtaxing people beyond certain limit, then this is now we call robbery with violence.
We are all struggling, but we don't show. If you're not doing well, shame on you. But you have to say, I'm broke and I'm struggling. We are not okay until everybody is okay.
We are pretending to have political parties. Why don't we just be honest? And we say, these are the Luyas, these are the Kambas, these are the Kikuyus, and we find ourselves in Kenya.
You know, with politics and leadership, no matter what you do, there will always be a complaint. There will always be the assumption that you're either stealing or you're not doing things right. As a leader, don't fear. If you know you're doing the right thing, you've thought about it, you've got an expert advice, do it, then understand later.
This country, we don't need prayers. Prayers is between you and God. Good governance and thinkers who care about the country and not their stomach.
That's what we need.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
All right, cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning, 15 degrees, highs of 26. There's a bit of haze over the Nairobi skies to clear up later. It's sunny at 14 in Nakuru, highs of 25 and lows of 13. It's sunny at 16 in Nyeri with highs of 26. And we'll see highs of 24 in a sunny Eldoret at 14. It's 25 and mostly sunny in Mombasa with highs of 31. And we'll see highs of 31 as well in a mostly sunny Malindi at 26. It's sunny at 20 in Kisumu with highs of 30 and lows of 19. And we'll see lows of 16 in a sunny Kakamega, currently at 17. It's raining in Kampala this morning at 20 with highs of 28. And sunny conditions at 26 in Dar es Salaam with highs of 31. And lows of 24. Sunny at 12 in Johannesburg with highs of 27. And mostly cloudy this morning in Lagos at 26 with highs of 30. 34 will be the high in a mostly cloudy Kinshasa at 23.
Spice up your life.
All right, heavy on the thicker superhighway this morning coming into the city. And we've seen that traffic, it will build up as you get closer and closer to the roundabout. Rather at that junction coming in from Outer Ring. And it's also big on Kiambu Road. Limuru Road has also packed up quite some since early this morning. And coming off onto Wayaki Way from James Gishuru is also pretty busy as you get roundabout into the CBD. Jogo Road not doing too badly. Neither is it doing too badly on Landis as you get through towards the Kamkunji roundabout. So we're getting into traffic hour proper right about now. Let's keep an eye on things and see how they open up this Monday. SpiceFM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
News. This is the Situation Room on Spice FM and KTN Home and Facebook and YouTube. With you this morning and every morning, Monday to Friday. It's Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh, and CT Muga.
So, you know, as everything was increasing and increasing and increasing, taxes have gone through the roof.
Yes.
You have been told to tighten your belt, and we said there's no belt left.
Yes.
And there's another levy after the UHC was launched on Friday. You know, everything was going up. So some good news was delivered by the president over the weekend. One thing finally is going down. And when I say down, as in not going down like happening, but
going down.
Not that going down, but going down like reducing. El Nino, you thought it was going to come heavy rain. No.
Meeting in the farm, it's going down.
The president said that Kenya will not experience El Nino as it was predicted by scientists in the country. Scientists being the Kenya Meteorological Department. Okay? Now, he said instead, what will happen in place of El Nino heavy rains, there will be October, November, December season, which is normal. City knows these seasons like the back of his hand. And the short rains will not necessarily cause devastating impacts to farmers.
Are you serious?
Yes, please.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, remember in August is when they told us, hey, you guys, it's going to rain heavily from September to December.
Prepare yourselves.
In fact, there were maps. There were red zones, green zones, blue zones, orange zones. And we were told in this part of the country, the rain will look like this. And here it will look like this. In fact, we are anticipating heavy rainfall over, those things that they normally tell us. And the people who live in the lowlands now were encouraged to do what? Move to higher ground, things like that. Counties started doing things, or so we are told, to now prepare themselves for this heavy rain that was going to come. We were also told that it would not be storms, but what would happen is that there would be a gradual, however, conditioned, rain in terms of inches it was going to come. Right. Chances of flooding was actually quite high.
Right.
So people were ready, were they not? Nairobi City County, they did what? They bought wheelbarrow and shovels. They hired people to start digging things. boats, you know.
3,400 of them.
Yes. EACC even now arranged themselves and said, you guys, this money that is going to then come for
El Nino,
I'm watching you. County governments, you people should be very careful.
EACC set up a desk called El Nino Watching Desk.
Thank you very much. El Nino Watchdog at the EACC and said, we are ready for you guys. All of these things happened. We even called county here and said, tell us what you're doing, preparing for El Nino. We even called Red Cross to tell us, Red Cross ready, everybody ready.
They have been going across the country teaching people, this is water. In small quantities, water good.
Yes.
In large quantities, water bad.
Can be bad. So be ready. We even had health people coming to tell us, avoid pools of water because it is likely to happen with El Nino. Everybody, menene was ready. Then in one full swoop,
Ruto
the president said,
see God. See God.
Yay.
That's what he said yesterday. You recently heard that our country is going to experience El Nino. But who is God? Have you heard those people say that we will not have El Nino, but there will be just small rains? Even with that heavy rainfall that we'll get, we have prepared our farmers to produce enough yields. Okay?
You know,
see God.
It seems to be accepted in this country that El Nino means heavy rains. It doesn't. No. What it actually means, in a nutshell, is disrupted normal weather patterns, unusual, irregular. The excessive rain is just part of it.
Yes.
Warm winds when they shouldn't be warm. Okay? Unseasonal rain. You know that weather patterns, it's supposed to be short rain, it rains like a nonsense, and you're thinking there's nothing short about this rain. Okay? Now, when all these things occur, and not necessarily all at the same time.
Yes.
Like, we've had very warm nights, warm to the point where you're sweating at night, and this is Nairobi, it's not Mombasa. And then the following day, it gets very cold. Then it's overcast. Then the following day, the sun shines as though someone sent it. It's hot, and you can't actually believe the temperatures. In some countries, it's so hot that tarmac melt. I mean, you find the asphalt melting. Okay? Now, then there are winds, strange winds. You know, for instance, I don't know these weather patterns, but from what I read, the easterly winds, the westerly winds, and the people who read them and tell you, this season they'll get westerly winds. With El Nino, easterly winds become westerly winds all of a sudden. Supposed to be cold winds, it's warm winds. In a nutshell, different regions of the world will experience some of these things, all of these things, or none of these things, or a bit of these things. That is El Nino. But the normal weather patterns have been disrupted.
Okay. What's your point?
My point is this. The president is speaking as though El Nino means heavy rains. Okay? Everyone who talks about El Nino seems to imply it's heavy rains. Why? Because in the past, El Nino has been characterized in this country by very, very excessive rains.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm saying, even if you do not have heavy rains, it doesn't mean El Nino has not been here. 1. 2, it doesn't mean we are out of the woods yet.
Now, even if the wind becomes easterly, westerly, southerly, and the sun becomes very hot, right? Are we going to have our roads demolished?
No.
Our roads?
Are we going to have our homes swept away by floods?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless it rains
Met
heavily,
Department,
Met Department,
in their caution to the public, said excessively heavy rains due to El Nino. Okay?
That's what they said.
That's what they said.
And?
Now they have sent a report to the president and said, not really. It's just going to rain, kawaida. All right? And that's where now we are. So El Nino was to come. El Nino is not coming.
El Nino came. It just didn't come with heavy rain.
Okay. El Nino of heavy rains was to come. Yes. El Nino of heavy rains is not coming.
Yes.
El Nino with whatever consequence, whatever extreme measures of El Nino was to come, is not coming.
It didn't come.
Extreme measures.
All right.
Because something has changed. And now, after all the preparations that we had for El Nino, it's not coming. People are going all over the place. Oh, you know, the government promised El Nino. The government can't even deliver a promise of a simple thing like
even rain, you cannot. I mean, look, and I think that's the thing here. Surely, mvua appear. That's the thing. Could you have gotten it so wrong? Because the initial report that came from the Met Department was quite detailed in terms of what was going to happen. We were told the counties, we were told the areas, we looked at the lowlands and we were told that, look, these are red zones and that you should be prepared to move to higher land if you're living on the lowlands. We were told that county governments had to get in line in order to get things ready. We were told, we were not told about westerly, easterly, southerly rains or central winds. We were told specific hot nights
in Nairobi.
Sorry about those warm summer nights, CT. But we were told categorically that there would be excessive rainfall. We were even told about inches and how much you would expect. We were told about flash floods and things like that. We were told all those things. But my question is it possible to have gotten it so wrong? Or that somewhere in the middle of it, did the weather just decide, actually, you know what, I'm not visiting that East African coast, not right now. Maybe I'm going to go somewhere else.
Let's focus.
Let's focus our attention somewhere else.
I've been called for a meeting elsewhere.
We've been called for a meeting. Did that happen?
It's possible.
Or can that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
It definitely can, because if you consider just for a wee bit, consider this thing called climate change.
Yeah.
Maybe the weather decided to favor us, as we're not disturbing climate change like other countries. So I decided to go to places where it's
those ones who have
been giving it problems. I said, these guys, no. They're already impoverished, they're suffering too many problems. they don't need more. The thing is, it's not over yet.
You still think the rains are going to come?
Oh, yes.
Now you're competing with Met City.
I'm not competing with Met.
Met has said it's
done. We're
done.
Finished.
What
will happen is the normal short rains that would come.
Bro, there are times Met has told us it's not going to rain, and it's raining like it's raining cats and dogs. So this Met thing, they do what they can.
With what they have.
With what they have.
What are you using?
And the interpretation.
The innards of a goat? I mean, what?
No, I'm reading tea leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to rain today. That's coming. What you're doing.
You know something? The moment someone tells you something is irregular, uncertain, then I'm going with that word. Because everything the Met is saying conforms to this. They thought this was going to happen. It has not happened. It conforms. Whatever you thought was about to happen didn't happen.
This is El Nino itself.
Yes, they've got it. But it doesn't mean, yes, it's over. I'm not saying we're not seeing the absence of those torrential rains. I'm just saying we're not out of the woods yet. That's all I'm saying.
It could still rain.
It could still rain.
No, this is the thing. They didn't they said it will rain, but what will happen is your normal short rains that happen between October and December.
You know me, I don't even get the short, long rain things. There was a time I used to understand it. I don't understand it at all.
The rains will still come.
Nairobi may not have experienced that sort of rain. Mombasa, there are days it rained the whole day, as in the whole day. So
now that's what they're saying.
Actually,
it'll be the whole day.
I am waiting. Western part of Kenya experience a lot of rains as well.
Yes.
I'm simply saying this. The extremity is one of the forms. It doesn't have to be extreme.
Okay, now, county governments were released or money was released to county governments to battle this extreme weather.
And they said they were prepared, isn't it?
Yes, they were prepared.
We'll audit and see what the preparedness means.
In terms of what they actually did with said money anticipating the rains.
If they did, it's a good thing. You know why? These drainages were clogged anyway. If they unclogged them, it means when it now rains, we're not going to have because when it rains, for instance, in this city, the roads are a mess.
Yes, they are.
Okay? Instantly. So, it has served a good purpose. But whether they have done what they said they were going to do is a completely different matter. The tasting of this particular pudding would have been in the eating.
So now what happens to the money?
See, they said they've already
I thought they spent it.
They've spent the money on preparing for El Nino.
I know there was some more that were going to.
No, you're right. There was more for in the event.
Yeah.
So there was some more for things that would actually happen
yes.
when these heavy rains come, and you need to actually move people, and you need to actually have food rations, because we did hear some. There will be food rations that will be given to people because
you were preparing primary schools.
Yeah, primary schools. When schools closed this week, they were going to prepare them so that people could move. So now that these things will not happen, will they return the money?
Anne Waiguru, the chair of Council of Governors, spoke about this. She's a good person of interest. And this
Will they return the money?
Return it where?
To whence it came.
Yeah, it has to go back.
Sure.
Where
Let
else?
me ask you, when we had COVID and some 5 billion shillings was distributed, did they return the money?
See, COVID did not go
People
away.
took beds from secondary schools and from clinics simply to give the impression that they had met the threshold. When an audit was done by the government itself, how many counties did they find had met the quota? 3. No, it went to 6.
Eventually, it went to 7
6.
out of 47.
Out of 40. So 40.
Yeah.
And yet the money was given, was it not?
Yeah.
So
Maybe
why?
this one they'll return the money because everybody can see that it did not rain. It's not a matter of did we know how many people. Okay, we were told how many people COVID infected, right? We were told that they should have bought oxygen, they should have bought beds, but now everybody in Kenya has seen that the rain did not come and it was not extreme. The president even told you.
Now, if they return the money, are we going to fire the 3,400 people who have hired
who've been hired to work
to sweep?
I think they should remain because the work that they were doing.
They had not even the work that they had just started doing.
was waiting for rain so that they can do it properly.
That they have started doing the work that they have started doing is they still have a lot to do, and it's still important to.
It should be done anyway, with or without.
Why don't you just shift whatever it is they're supposed to do and let them sort out garbage?
Absolutely. In
3,400
fact,
people.
That's a very good idea. How about they sort out? In fact, those 3,000 people can actually just be here in Mukuru.
3,400 people.
It's a good number. Garbage. Are we saying that we don't have work that these people can do? There's a lot of work they can do. Why don't they just do that?
3,400 people.
Yes. By the time they're around 1,000 and somebody is 3,000, by the time you get to 100, you've counted many. 200.
These are very many people that we're talking
what were they supposed
about.
to be doing? Those 3,400 people, what were they supposed to be doing in the event that the rain has come, that then you cannot apply them to other places?
As I understood, it was short term. Okay? It was a rapid results initiative.
How short?
So you need... Rains are coming, and we can see, all right, so we have a lot of garbage and it's strewn all over. We have our drainages are clogged. So let's get these people. 200 per constituency. We have 17 constituencies in the country. 200 people in every constituency just doing that work every day, every night. Just clear the garbage, clear the garbage, clear the garbage, clear the garbage. Of course, that has to come to an end, and then we go back to revert to factory settings. What the county government should be doing. After the county government has now installed new dustbins and new garbage collection points and new trucks are there and those new tippers and everything, these 3,400 people can now go back to what they were doing before. Which is what? Who knows? They were jobless. But 200 people per constituency, kazi yao ni takataka. We must have a clear plan. And we should be seeing. I honestly do not see the work of 200 people in the constituencies that I've been to
clean up.
I have not seen. I have not felt the impact of 200 people newly employed in a constituency to add to the other people who are working in that constituency.
No, they said that when the rain
in
comes now is now when you would have been able to see. But now that the rain, so what happens to them? This is the thing. So now that obviously we've been
there'll be no more money.
Yeah.
This was just a one-off budget that was removed from something, put into this because it's an emergency. An emergency doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't. By virtue of definition, it means that it's a one-time thing. But this is the question, though. And I think that the question that you're asking feeds into this other question, that what happens, with the funds that have been released, that were used, and then also the ones that are yet to be taken up. What happens to that in terms of due diligence and making sure that actually things are kept according to record and making sure that the books are clean and tight? What happens to that? Are we going to hear the way we then heard from Council of Governors? We'll hear from Anne Waiguru's position, for example, that yes, 14 billion shillings that was given or was not given for XYZ has now been returned to the Exchequer. Will we hear that? We will hear that. And I think that's necessary to do because essentially the panic, the panic was that, what's going to happen? People will be displaced, etc., etc. Now that panic has been removed.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen because now we've been told, unless, really it's going to be a shockaroo situation where we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and it's actually raining and maybe then now we'll actually believe what CT's saying. But if that doesn't happen, will we then hear statements tomorrow saying, you know what, we have returned this money to Treasury because we do not need it? Or actually, now that we have this money, there were some pending projects within the counties that needed attention.
That still have to do with sanitation.
Yes, and so let's apply this money to those things. But should those conversations then not be made public as this one was made, and you were told rain is not raining again? Okay, now should that not follow swiftly when we'll be told, okay, let's do something else with it?
The other thing about El Nino that is probably not mentioned often is that these processes and the effects are not, they're never identical. One season you can have what we know as the heavy rains, and the other season it may just be winds and nothing more. Yes. And also, you will find that what happens in one particular region of the world may not necessarily be what's happening in another region, and yet it's all El Nino.
Our Met told us the variety that was coming to us was the heavy rain.
May I believe the Met? The moment you have strong winds moving, changing patterns from east to west and then west to east, winds bring cloud brings rain. When they read it, it was coming this way. Then wind changed, it went that way. So we now need to look who took our weather. Where did it rain heavily?
It still came.
It still came.
El Nino is still coming. The only problem is that taxes.
That's
Yeah.
What?
Taxes. Open your calculator. Let me show you how.
That is where the rain is.
That's where the rain is.
And lots of it.
Okay. Yeah. So El Nino, the full-blown El Nino, is coming. And it's coming.
And it's a surety.
Then it comes and meets KRA. It's told 30% corporate tax. Toa 30%. Okay?
Back is 60.
Back is 60.
70.
Then it's told VAT. 16% toa hiyo. Then it's told excise duty of 15% toa hiyo. Then it's told, when you're coming, we are going to have to repair roads. So road repair levy, 5%. Then we're also going to have, a bridge maintenance levy, for another 5%. And then it's told, we need people to harvest all this water. So in order to support our population to harvest the heavy rainfall, we need to get a water harvesting levy, another 5% or so. And then because you're coming in with a lot of cloud cover, we have to do a cloud cover duty. All those things, when the El Nino was coming at 100%,
you're
left with what?
19%.
There.
That's where it's come.
So that's why now it's reduced to 19%, becomes no more heavy rainfall.
From October to December.
But these taxes and the burden that they present, worthy of a discussion, because really, however you look at, it doesn't matter how you look at it. Coming hot on the heels of COVID and everything that went with COVID, much as it's supposed to help do all sorts of wonderful things, but before it gets the wonderful things, the terrible things, it's actually coming with things that I sometimes wonder whether we'll be able to shoulder as a people in this country. Because the promises sound good, but the effect of these taxes and what it'll mean in reality, that's a completely different matter altogether.
It's a different story altogether.
No, it is a completely different story.
It's a different story. Well, we must though say that the fact that this time there was open and public conversation about something that those that are in charge of giving us early warning actually delivered the early warning, and it was heeded.
They did.
And the government said, all right, so we've heard from our experts at Met, and this is what we need to do. We need to create awareness. So there was a lot of awareness across the country that we were expecting El Nino style rainfall. Awareness, tick. There was a lot of conversation that happened at government quarters on what do we need to do to prepare. We need to think about the budget. We need to talk about this and the other. County governors, can you go and start working around on the ground? Tick. Kenya Red Cross, it shouldn't be them on the forefront. It should be government on the forefront. But Kenya Red Cross did a good job of going into all those areas. We saw them in Budalangi and teaching people. We saw them across, showing people, this is what we do. Let's unclog these areas. Let's do this and the other. Very good thing. So let's look at the positive as well. The positive is at least we didn't just sit back and
shock on us.
Guy.
No, absolutely.
El Nino has come. There was at least some semblance of attempts at preparation. Now the thing is, we now need to audit what actual activities in terms of preparation did we see going towards this El Nino, impending El Nino. Was it sufficient? Was it not? Now that we don't have the El Nino, can we actually just spend time and look, all right, so you as national level, what did you do? You at counties, what did you do? Was that sufficient? Was that going to actually support the people, or was it not going to support the people? Was it what we had said on paper? Is that what you were doing on the ground? Or were you also playing some picky ponky kind of game? It's about time that we do that. Same thing we had said during COVID. We said at the end of COVID, we needed to have a national audit of what has been done in COVID. It did not happen. Even the KEMSA story just became hot air. Everything was just... Uhuru said, I want a report in 2 months' time. He's still waiting for his 2 months. It's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Nito. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto said he's happy to be Kenya's leader at a time when the country is grappling with several economic challenges and a skyrocketing cost of living. Ruto said that had times called for a president like him to steer the country into growth. Now, as the National Dialogue Committee is expected to officially start writing its report, Azimio Coalition has now threatened to withdraw if the cost of living issue is not made a priority. According to Azimio, they will not agree to sign the final report if the cost of living is not made the first agenda.
Tuko na wiki moja imebaki kumaliza hiyo kazi, and I want to assure you, as our leader will assure you today, without dealing with the issue of cost of living, there will be no deal.
Cost of living must be addressed and electoral justice must be addressed. Na mimi najua timu yetu imeshikilia, lakini wale ni lazima wawe na good faith, sio wengine ni wale.
The committee, under leadership of Kalonzo Musyoka of Azimio and Kimani Ichung'wah of Kenya Kwanza, is expected to draft a report in Naivasha from this morning. Now, Kenya leader Martha Karua has claimed that the government does not have good intentions in the negotiations.
If people want to go for negotiations, national dialogue, it must be that is done in a spirit of good faith. Good faith, imani kwamba ufichi kisu hapa nyuma. Kuna wengine wanaenda kuzungumza na mtu na weka kisu nyuma. Utadu, wengine wana hiyo attitude.
Haiwezi kuisha without sincerity of the KK regime.
The police commander in Malindi, Kilifi County, Wilmot Mwakio, has asked residents who are being mishandled by police officers in the area to report the said officers so that they can be punished by law. He said it's against the law for police officers to harm citizens they are supposed to be serving.
Kuna mmoja amesema kuna askari wengine wabaya, lakini kama umekosewa, ni nani aliambia wewe uweze enda mbele kwa ofisi yake? Ni nani aliambia wewe uweze enda kwa ofisi? Wewe unajua askari mbaya ni gani? Wewe unasema anakushika saa 2, pengine anazunguka na wewe mpaka saa 10 za usiku asubuhi. Kwa nini akuzungushe mpaka asubuhi? So usinyamaze ukiona unanyanyaswa. Mambo mengine sisi ndio tunawachilia. Inaenda kiwango mpaka inaleta shida.
This is Mwakio's advised parents to ensure that their children stay at home, especially at night, to avoid being caught by police officers.
Tuhakikishe vijana wetu wako kwa maboma. Saa 4 na mtoto haiko kwa boma, mtoto ameenda wapi? Na mtoto ni wako wewe umezaa. Haiko kwa boma, wewe uko kwa boma unalala. Unajiuliza mtoto yuko wapi? Ni mzuri tuzuie mapema, sababu akishikwa wewe mwenyewe tena ndio utaanza kuangaika. Kwa nini tusizuie mapema? So hakikisha mtoto wako ako kwa boma, sio kurandaranda usiku. Ziko shughuli nyingi za kufanya. Utafute vitabu asome, ziko storybooks.
The Kwale County government has called on the residents of the counties to follow the law in an effort to reduce disputes among themselves, especially in land matters. Governor Fatuma Chani has indicated that the county government is collaborating with the national government to resolve land disputes, urging residents to avoid taking action into their own hands if there are conflicts between them.
Kuna wengi wenu hapa mmenunua mashamba hapa. Mliuziwa mashamba na mkanunua. Lakini sasa hivi kumeanza vuguvugu la watu kusema sisi tunataka kutetea ardhi za Wadigo. Tunataka kutetea ardhi sije za kina nani. Ndio huwa nawaambia jamani, haka pole pole. Si wote walioiba mashamba, wengine waliuziwa mashamba kihalali. Na ndio naambia kila Mkwale, yoyote ambaye ana issue ya mashamba, ofisi yangu iko wazi. Mtu yoyote ambaye anaona tumedhulumika kama jamii, ofisi yangu iko wazi, kwanza nikiwa mwanasheria, pili nikiwa gavana wa jimbo la Kwale. Nitakuwa katika nafasi nzuri ya kufuatilia issues kama zile.
On his part, Msambweni Member of Parliament Faisal Badr has assured the residents of the county that the rights of every resident will be protected without any discrimination.
Vile maombi yenu mumesema, sisi tumeyasikia, mama ameyasikia hapa, atayafanyia kazi upande wake wa serikali, na mimi chiki ofisi yangu hapa kidogo ya ubunge hapa pia nitayafanyia kazi. Tutajaribu kuincorporate wa Kisii na zile kabila nyingine zote kwa sababu tunaamini nyinyi ni wenzetu.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has warned that all public officers who hold offshore accounts illegally risk hefty fines or jail terms if they do not comply with the set regulations. In a communique, the anti-graft body reiterated Article 76(2)(a) of the Constitution, which dictates that a public officer shall not open or continue to operate a bank account outside Kenya without EACC's approval. Additionally, the account holder is required to submit annual bank account statements to EACC no later than 31st of January each year. In the case of any closure, the Commission should be furnished with the evidence. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
Traffic this morning coming off Lunga Lunga is touching a little bit here and there on Lusaka, and then onto the Likoni interchange. It's coming through towards the southern bypass. So right there at that junction, we're going to see some movement and also a hold up there. So you want to watch out for that if you're heading in that direction. Rilo Dingo Way snaking along slowly, going towards the Gong Road junction. And then we're also seeing traffic right on Aerodrome Road, coming in from Lusaka Road, as well as Langata Road. Very heavy on Landis right now. Jogo Road is feeding to that. And then into the CBD, quite a lot of traffic this morning. The Thika Superhighway is heavy with traffic, well beyond GSU Headquarters Junction. And then coming in from Githurai, that's heavy also coming in from Limuru Road. And we're looking at traffic also moving very slowly on James Gishuru. All right, we're in traffic hour and it's proper. Wherever you are this morning, we know that Monday mornings usually can be busy. We'll ask you to be careful. There was a haze over the city and that is starting to lift. So fog lights up, you will need them. Let's talk in a bit. SpiceFM KE on X and keep things moving whichever way this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room,
8 minutes
the only way to
How
start
are you doing? Welcome to that Monday, the 23rd of October, 2023, Kenya's biggest conversation. Tonight at 8:30 p.m., a new show premieres on Maisha Magic Plus on DSTV, Channel 163 and GoTV, Channel 3. This new show is called Zari, and it will be airing from tonight. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Back next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Big show. Where I'm telling you, if you want people like Brenda Wairimu, Sarah Hassan and others, they're in this particular one. It is big. It's what we've been talking about for a couple of days, and now it'll be playing from tonight on Maisha Magic Plus. Many people who have been waiting up for this will watch it. And Angie Magio is also starring in this one. Dennis Musyoka acting as Dylan. We had a conversation with them last week. If you'd like to watch it, just dial 423#, or you can download my DSTV or my GoTV app to get or stay connected. Also, today is the beginning of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon 20th edition, the virtual race.
Yes, and how you ask, is it the first day? Well, it's because it's the virtual race that starts taking place today. Where are you? Anywhere in the world, really. If you've logged on to www.nairobimarathon.com and registered for the race, and the virtual one more, so that means that you can run wherever. Now, please, let's understand ourselves. If you're doing the 10K, it doesn't mean you can run 2K today and 2K tomorrow. No, you run the whole 10K today, and then you put your time on the leaderboard, but that means that you were not available come the 29th, and then join everybody else in finding out what their timings were come the 29th of October. And remember, you can still register, get in line for the race that supports the Future Makers program, which helps young people, especially girls and people living with disability, to learn, earn and grow.
Indeed. We are privileged to host this morning the former governor of Kiambu County, the Honorable William Kabogo. Good morning, William.
Morning. How are you doing?
Very well. Good to have you here.
Nice to be here after a long time.
You're looking like Kibaki.
They say so.
William
so.
Kibaki.
Kibaki looks like me.
Yes.
Look like.
Kibaki looks like you. Now, there's only one way it can go, this one. Sure. You are looking like the late Mwai Kibaki. And you can see how. Yeah,
I know.
Talk to him. Talk like him.
Apumzike pole pole. He was a great man.
Indeed, he was.
Actually, I was going through some of my old photos, and I saw a photo of Kibaki and I. And I just tweeted, I miss Kibaki. Kibaki's times were easy. He had God's favor. May he rest in peace.
Indeed.
Kenya misses Kibaki.
We all do.
I think he's the greatest president we have ever had, according to me. And that's my vote.
Many will agree with you. City has the day's proverb. This week's proverbs are from Zanzibar.
Yes, Unguja, not Ugunja, where Pio and I comes from. This is Zanzibar. And one must lay credit where credit is due, isn't it?
Yes.
Swahili is one of the three main languages of Zanzibar. So at least the first three proverbs of the week will be in Kiswahili, then we'll try and translate them into the English language.
Yeah.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo. Mr. Kabogo.
You better lose vision, but not life. That's the way I look at it.
Let's put it well. You know, this is a man who lived many years in Mombasa. So his knowledge of the Kiswahili language belies his heritage. So I don't think he's going to mix his L's and R's.
Kufahamu na kuelewa Kiswahili.
Bas, did I not say? Yes.
What's the deeper meaning of this proverb?
Well, it depends on what side you look at it. But it literally means you'd rather not see, but you're alive. Wengine, they say, funga lako jicho. You see what where I'm getting at. So sometimes it's good to understand that life is not only vision, not what you see. And you understand that most people who are visually impaired, who do not see, who are challenged that way, their other senses are triple or double what yours are. So I take it literally that that's what it means.
Okay.
For lack of a better expression.
No, you've done well. A lot's happening in the country, William. You know, in terms of the economy, people's psyche, everything, and all that also is happening in Kiambu. There is a lot of conversation in Kiambu. We'll come to Kiambu. Let's start nationally.
As a matter of fact, I never discuss Kiambu. Because every time you want to open your mouth and say anything about Kiambu, they say, oh, G-Trade lover, oh, this guy has failed, oh, this guy, you know all these things. And
you're one of the 1 million voters of Kiambu.
I am not a politician, and I say this many times, I'm not a politician. Politicians have that behavior. And unfortunately, we have very many of them in Kenya. I'm a leader. And once I'm done with elections, if I'm not in office, I'm done with it. There are better things to do other than just being in politics. As I said here before, and I'll continue saying, politicians think about the next general election. You can see the mood now. They're already talking 27. We're hardly 1 year after elections. But leaders think about the next generation. And by the way things are going here in this country today, there's a lot to worry about. Because it looks like it's just elections and elections and elections. Promises and promises and promises. As I was driving here, because I was on my way, then I turned around because it was supposed to be 9. So I was very much on radio. And at some point I heard His Excellency the President say, we shall deliver on our promises. We are working on our manifesto and we're implementing our manifesto. Hii kelele kidogo here and there, they can continue making noise, but at some point they will congratulate us. That may be so, or the intentions are good. But whether that will happen or not is a big question. I would rather action than words. We just see things are happening. Cost of living is coming down. That means cost of fuel comes down. Easy access to opportunities for all Kenyans. Kenyans earning meaningful life in terms of wage. Because with all the increase in prices, cost of living, and the Kenyan worker still earns the same. That's why you hear every 10 minutes a Kenyan loses a phone. I heard on, I think it was Kiss this morning, and they're saying every 10 minutes a Kenyan loses a phone. And my calculation is there are 12 busy hours in a day. So 12 by 60 is 720, right? So 720 by 10, 72 phones every 10 minutes. That means that there is a problem in this country. And kupigwa geta, order of the day now. I was asking one of my colleagues to come to work on Sunday night. We had an issue that required an electrical engineer. And he lives in Githurai. So I said, Nicholas, why don't you find your way into our site? He says, boss, hapa saa 3, huwezi toka nje. I said, but you must come to work. No, boss, haiwezekani. It's not possible. Unless unitumie gari dinga ikuje tu mpaka my doorstep, I will not leave my house. So I imagine that that is how it is in the whole country. Lakini, as they say, watu ya siasa ni kupiga kifua. They want to force us to believe that everything is okay.
Everything is okay.
Yeah, and it's not.
William,
and you know it's not okay.
You're saying you'd rather see action than hear words. Are you saying you're not seeing action?
I'm saying, just now I got into a gas station by Westlands to fuel. Normally I would fuel 8,000 shillings and my car shows above half. 8,000 just now went to a quarter. So if you're telling me that I see action, I would have loved to see my gauge go towards half. Meaning what I would have done with 8,000 a year ago, I would need 16,000 today.
Or that you can only do half of that.
That's it. And we have to tighten our belts when things get thick. So I would have to really decide, where do I go? Must I go? Because if you avoid going means you avoid spending. But some of us are such that you must be everywhere at every one time. So things are hard for Kenyans. Let's just be honest.
So what action are you looking for that you're not seeing? Of course, yes, you can see
action
the price of fuel
that
is
is
going up.
one geared towards making life bearable for Kenyans. Because what you see is one has run to central Kenya to try and put Kenyans together. These tribal groupings will never help this country. And I'm referring to the meetings that the Deputy President has been holding in central Kenya the last few weeks. We are done with elections. It is unfortunate that one may think they have no base, because in Kenyan politics, you probably require to have a base. Like when you talk about Raila, you say he has his base in Kibra, he has his base in Luwu Nyanza, he has his base in Nairobi Eastlands. But again, elections. When are we going to stop talking about elections? So we are now thinking 2027. Who will be with who, where, to do what? Just to get seats, power. Power, money, power, money. That's the cycle.
But that's you who's seeing that, William, because on one hand you may be a leader, but also on the other hand you've played the political game. So you are seeing the political side of things. Are you saying
if you tell
that
me,
minus the political
Latiff,
side of things, there's nothing else that you see happening?
If I run back the clock, 2002, I would never participate in politics in this country. If I was given a new life in 2002, what I know today, I would rather just be a businessman and be a businessman and a serious businessman, not only in Kenya.
Why?
Right now, if you are to import anything that has steel, you will pay 3 times what you paid last year. Cost of developing homes, what I do, has become so much. And why? People don't want to see through the lenses. They just see. They just feel like government is just pushing prices up. No, there must be some peculiar interests that are being served. Is it for the general good of the country, or is it for the good of a few? You understand what I'm trying to say? But I don't want to step on people's shoes, but it is painful to do business now in this country. I've been looking to diversify a little bit towards South Africa. And the only question that you worry about in South Africa is xenophobia. But otherwise, environment is conducive out there. So I'm saying in a Kenyan situation, we need to ask our leaders to tone down the politics and probably try and worry about the feeling of the general public in terms of survival. Everyone is on a survival mode right now.
William, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
What you now know, there are people who are going into politics headlong and they think that is a serious career path. What is it that you now know that makes you reflect back?
That one, our politics is not about Kenya. It's about personal interest and how you can get rich quickly.
That's it.
That's it. That's what our politics is all about. I was reading yesterday that someone has bought a villa in Dubai for 270 million.
Kenya shillings.
Kenya shillings.
Lovely.
And from, when you read between the lines, it looked like this guy was zero, or this she. Is it a he or she?
Nowadays, you never know.
Let's say they were zero.
They were zero.
Yes.
But you've managed to buy a flat in Dubai for 270 million. Why would you find that kind of money? What is this that you have learned at the age of 54 that you could not have done the last 54 years, but you've acquired some serious acumen, business acumen, to be able to make that kind of money?
Well, you say it. One hears of people who, before the previous election, required soft loans from friends to simply get along and do what other people do by working.
Without mentioning names.
I cannot possibly mention names.
I have given soft loans. 2012, 1 million shillings to someone. That someone today
clearly has more money than you.
Not only than me, than anybody else. But that's a story. That's a story of another. That's a story of another day.
When I talk to
people from Kiambu, and I have many friends from Kiambu, I look at the time when you are governor and some of the people who had some of the most vile things to say about you, same people whom I've spoken to since. Yes. And I have been pleasantly surprised. Well, part of the reason is because I've told them that you're known to me and I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
And said, that man set up systems. We knew who did what. There were structures.
That's it.
Kiambu was organized.
Yes.
I said it was. So then what happened? The reason I was given was, you know how politics is. I said, actually, I don't. Explain to me, how is politics? Because you're saying this now. Was it not visible then?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I saying this? To make you feel a little good about yourself, but also to the question I asked initially. You see, this idea of people wanting to make as much money as they can for themselves, there is a provision here that I have to consider. They seem to think that the way they go about it is a free fall and they'll never be held accountable.
True.
That is why they seem to head in that direction in droves. Now, I am of the view that the day of reckoning is not far. That is my view.
Something happens in this country because, one, I avoid talking Kiambu, but at the risk of looking like a jilted lover.
Which you're not.
To make a country grow, things need to happen. Systems need to be in place. And government will always change. I want to tell my friend, William Ruto, a day will come he will not be president. A day came, Kenyatta is not president. Yes, he is not president
a day
anymore.
Came, Kenyatta one died, and that's the one person, those of us who are young, one didn't envision Kenya being without Kenyatta.
That's it.
It happened.
So, power is transient. If we want to grow our country, we must be serious about what we do. And we must be moved by the need of making Kenya work. But as I said earlier, from those that we elect, and I was listening to PLO giving a talk somewhere in Ghana about saying that we are our own problems because we elect people who cannot help us, people who cannot lead us to where we should be. I did systems, yes, as you say, in Kiambu. Everything was working perfectly okay. And number one was to eliminate handling of cash.
Yes.
We needed systems, money to be paid in a system, not in people's pockets.
That is the context, because they talked about the amount of revenue Kiambu used to raise in your time.
We moved the revenues from 700 million a year to 2.8 billion. Not by adding any taxes, by making sure that theft is reduced to almost zero. If I had done a second term, probably Kiambu would have been the first self-sufficient or self-funding county in the Republic. And it is possible to happen. When I went in, we found that a bottle of water, 300 ml, the county was buying at 300 shillings. 3 times the price of fuel then. Water. Sugar, I think 400 shillings. Doom, I don't know for what purpose. You know all these things. And when I saw that, I said, oh my God, how can this be? What did I do? I stopped entire purchasing. I stopped it. I said, for 14 days, we are buying nothing. I send people out, go to Nakumart, go to Quickmart, go to all the supermarkets, get me a price list of all these things, and find a mean price for everything. I convened a cabinet quickly, and we said we are not purchasing anymore the way we do. We must purchase from these supermarkets, and the highest price we pay is the mean that we have found among supermarkets. Because if Nakumatt sells water at 40 bob, it means they're making some money. So why should we pay more than 40 bob? What happens? Everyone disappeared. All the suppliers. They all disappeared because they were no longer going to make the kill. And there is where we started. Where are the quick fruits? What can we reap quickly? By stopping CFOs from going to a bank to collect 10 million shillings for interest.
Do you think the same can be graduated to a national level?
It can be, yes.
Because is that what we're talking about?
It is the will, but when you, in whose interest? This is how you look at it. If you stop a CFO from collecting 10, 20 million shillings cash from National Bank, you have stopped people from receiving cash. Yes. And these people are in those offices to make cash, not to make Kenya a better place. And this is the problem of our politics.
As we take a break, William, did you, at the end of the first term of the county government of Kiambu, were there pending bills?
I think we had pending bills of about 180 million, and that was bills that were spreading, projects that were spreading, or programs that were spreading between 1 and 3 years. It's always possible to have pending bills, but not excessive pending bills. Why would you have pending bills of 9 billion in Kiambu County when your annual revenues from Exchequer is about 7 billion? What is the logic? How do you incur money that you don't have? Government does not spend money it doesn't have.
Yeah.
Government does not have borrowings that they do in reserve banks to make programs happen. You budget what you anticipate to receive. So unless you tell me you are budgeting for 7 billion and you got 6, so you have a deficit of 1 billion to cover, it's just pure theft. You know, I understand that for a governor to collect money from potential contractors is easy. Float a tender, tell your friends, you will give you this, but you need to go off 10%. So he pays 10% or 20% or whatever it is, that becomes a bill in the future. Because if that contract is not given or awarded to this fellow, then he knows that he needs to shout to the governor or to whoever it is. So you will find very many ghost projects that will never take off. Even these spending bills, are they real bills? They cannot be real.
That has been the question.
Where was the control of budget? Every year, you do your paper in terms of preparations of budget. These things goes to the control of budget. How do they never see these things? Inchi ya kitu kidogo.
Wizi.
This is our problem.
28 minutes to 9. Kenya's biggest conversation, hosting William Kabogo. What do we call you now? So, former governor.
Kabogo, okay. William, simple.
Yeah, yes. Former governor, okay.
Now a farmer for the time.
Farmer now, okay.
Developer,
okay.
What else? And you know, I've seen things happen in this country from 2002. It's over 20 years of experience in terms of leadership, politics, etc.
Experienced observer of the goings on in the country.
Right now, there's a good project that the government is trying to
Tell us about it after the break.
Yes.
Let's do this break. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba. Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. but I'll continue saying, hawa watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's a bit hazy in Nairobi, 15 degrees, highs of 26, and we'll see lows of 15. It's sunny at 14 in Nakuru, going to highs of 25, and 26 will be the high in a sunny Nyeri at 16. It's 14 and sunny in Eldoret with highs of 24, and sunny at 25 in Mombasa with highs of 31. We'll see the same in Malindi, currently at 16 and sunny. It's 20 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 30 and lows of 19, and at 17 degrees, Kakamega is sunny, going to highs of 29. It still continues to rain in Kampala at 20 with highs of 28 and lows of 18. It's 26 and sunny in Dar es Salaam with highs of 31 and lows of 24. It's sunny at 12 in Johannesburg with highs of 27, and Lagos will see highs of 30 where it's mostly cloudy at 26. It's mostly cloudy at 23 in Kinshasa with highs of 34, coming down to lows of 23.
Spice up your life.
All right, still busy in the city this morning. We're looking at traffic coming on the Thika Superhighway into the city. That still continues heavy. It's also heavy coming out of Westland, Spring Valley, Peponi. Everybody then going out towards Parklands and then touching on Chiromo a little bit. And then coming in from Wangari Maathai, there's traffic that comes off the Thika Superhighway. Either you go that way or you go towards Pangani, or rather than towards the CBD. Limuru Road, heavy with traffic all the way from United Nations Avenue coming in from Gigiri. It's heavy through towards Muthaiga, so you want to watch out for that. If you can use an alternate route, you might want to think about that this morning. All right, let's look at what's coming off of North Airport Road. There's some traffic heading out towards the Outer Ring Junction, and so it's busy wherever you look this Monday morning. Let's know if you find a good route, or if you're stuck somewhere, let us know. We'll shoot you towards the open routes. SpiceFM KE on X. Let's talk there and keep things moving this morning.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okoh, businessman, political observer.
Good title.
And commentator,
yes.
And leader. Okay, Ndu.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned that really sticking in my head here, and maybe you talk about the fact that, you know, Kenya's politicians are not there for the people of Kenya. That really it is for individuals here. And then we kind of see this whereby when we look at development, when we look at, you know, the implementation of certain policy to make life better for Kenya's citizens, that doesn't really seem to take off as often as, or as much for us as we'd like to. So if we know, and I've said it often, right, that leaders will often show you what they mean. You don't have to go beyond a word.
Let's imagine that leaders, to start with, are MPs. Let's start there.
Okay.
You are elected to go and represent your constituents, right?
Yep.
It's not a secret that Kenyans are crying of cost of living. It's not a secret. And I'm sure even yourselves have felt the changes in your pockets in terms of expenditure. And
it's
what
profound.
And what you need to do to get from point A to point B. But as this happens, what have you heard our MPs saying? Which one have you heard talking about the problems their constituents are facing?
Unfortunately, none.
What they tell you is that this is a global problem. And so suffer quietly, because it's a global problem. I have seen today, it's like some of us may be happy that Israel and Hamas is happening, because now they have said in today's paper, if you look, they're saying It will get even worse now with Hamas and Israel.
The effect of that war
Yes.
on our country.
It may have an effect. I'm not saying it will not. But that is not the cause of our problems.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not. The president as a man may have good intentions. But all these people around him, what's their business? Do they do what is expected of them by Kenyans?
And why
I
don't
expect,
they?
I expect every other advisor around President William Ruto to tell him plain truth of what is happening. But when I listen to David and D, I'm like, good God. You're not telling us that, we listened to these pledges. And then he says mockingly, and you believed. You know, quote, and you believed. And the guy is still in office.
As a leader, at the point where you were in office, because I often wonder that, there is the individual who speaks to Kenyans atop vehicles or wherever it is and says, I am going to do 1, 2, 3. Just give me an opportunity. I mean, you've done it. Give me an opportunity to lead you. And so we can speculate about what goes on in your head at that point. Now, let's move to when you are actually in the position. Do you expect Kenyans to hold you accountable for the things that you said that you were going to do, or for this position where you speak of where you would expect that the very rights, the very expectations of Kenyans will be the things that you do every day? Do you expect that Kenyans will hold you accountable? Because I often think the reason why...
I expect they should.
They should. Yes. I often think that the reason why we see this kind of behavior is that people in those positions will assume that Kenyans will not ask them about their goings on. So
but
they'll
also
just
they're
continue
asking
to...
Kenyan, what is in the mind of the asking Kenyan? We've made our politics such that if I go to the village and I can afford to dish 500 bob to everyone who comes around, then I don't need to be
held accountable.
My accountability is how much money I can dish in how long a time. And this, if it doesn't change, this is the culture that we are developing, and it will never change. Africa will never grow if this is the attitude of our voter. Surely, at the risk of when you have a governor in Nairobi who is elected on a popular vote, very popular vote, that has never run anything, has never run any office, has no clue what the governorship is all about, what is expected of you, where you derive your powers from. Right now, if you look at all the 47 counties, I'm sure governors believe that they are the apex authority. But the apex authority in a county is not the governor. It is that body, that committee, comprised of 10, including the governor and the deputy governor. How many convene those meetings? How many get to a table and they tell the governor, no, we cannot go this way as a county? How many? It is how much money the governor will move, how much money he will give to who. And this is a culture that I'm talking about in this country. It is painful to see these things happening. And it is possible to develop this country. It is possible. It can be done.
So why doesn't it happen? Because, William, the things that you've said today, the difference between a politician and a leader, somebody who is not in this for themselves, somebody who is in this to benefit the people, his people, her people. If you listen to many of our politicians, many of our elected leaders, one-on-one, they will speak the same language.
Yeah, they will speak, but do
you
they
will
do?
hear them
Do they
speaking
do?
the same
Do they
language.
do? Do they act?
And that's the thing I'm asking.
They speak, they act differently from what they speak.
What is it that makes them act differently from what they speak?
You want to be a populist to start with. You want to be elected next term. So they are driven by next term, next election. Latiff, I didn't give a damn if I was going to get the second term. I didn't give a damn. I did what I had to do. I made difficult decisions. I probably lost my seat because I was a threat to many, not because I didn't do what I was expected to do in Kiambu. Till today, you've had the issue of healthcare in Kiambu, the best. Till today. If systems were put in place and they worked, Latiff, I would have allowed my son to go to hospital in Kiambu Hospital. If he had come to see me someplace in Kiambu and he got into a small accident and he needed Medicare, he would have gone to Kiambu and I would have been happy that he will be fine. Is it the situation today? You remember I kept complaining to Kidero. Make your hospitals, put medicine in the dispensaries. We are treating Nairobi people more than we are treating Kiambu. Machakos, they bought, 20 ambulances, not to take people to their hospitals, to bring them to Thika and other places. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these guys, it gets to a point you think you're in the wrong country. It gets to a point and you feel like you just want to move.
Would you say
the cost of doing business here now, as a businessman now I speak, not as a politician, is becoming so difficult to make ends meet genuinely as a businessman here. And if you go down south in South Africa, regardless of the xenophobia and things like that, because I've been there, you can start a business in South Africa in 4 weeks and you're up and running. Up and running. We are now importing from South Africa than importing from Europe because, one, the dollar. I want you to ask yourself, if this problem of the dollar is global, as we are told, why hasn't it affected Tanzania? Why is there money supply, US dollar supply in Tanzania, in Uganda? Why is it that the shilling and the rand are still at 7.6? What is happening here with the dollar that we do not know?
What is it?
You tell me, I don't know.
It's being hoarded. It's not
The
complicated.
inflow of dollars is still the same. Kenyans abroad, or diasporas, you call them, are still sending money home, right?
Yes, they are.
But there is a shortage to pay school fees last week. I could not send money to school in one go. I needed to wait 2, 3, 4 days to collect 2,700 pounds, 2,300 pounds, 2,000 per day. This has never been the case.
Why is
so
that
there is
shortage?
no supply. There is lack of dollars in the market.
Is there
But there's
import?
still inflows, meaning money is not flowing out. So where is the money?
It's being hoarded.
For how long?
If it's hoarded, it can't circulate. The way money works, it has to circulate. If it's not circulating, and we know it came in, so where is it?
So the law of demand and supply kicks in. So there is too many of us chasing the dollar. So the dollar becomes expensive.
So somebody has made sure that there's a shortage, because then you benefit. When there's this shortage, the Kenyan shilling does what it does. You see, the shortages can be caused. There's a question I want to ask William before we get to this dollar situation, and the dollar situation is a good one to dovetail from. There are those who philosophize and think about human nature, and they say that if you want to know the true nature of someone, give them a position of authority.
Yes.
Would you say that the positions of authority that our political leaders have give us a very clear picture of who these people actually are?
Let me just give you another example. They say when you find a drinking person, man or he or she, they drink and get high. What they do and say is who they are.
In vino veritas.
That's
They say,
who they
in
are.
wine there is truth.
So
Yes.
give a man power. Give a man money. And he will show exactly what he is.
So
it is that's
you do not need to think, overthink, analyze. You can see.
No. Same monkeys, same forests, but you expect different results. Amazing.
So then are we saying that that's who we are as Kenyans? Because we keep trying
yes.
different leaders.
Generally, yes.
We remove one leader, you bring in another one, and you're still in the same pit. You bring in other leaders at national level, at county level, you still find ourselves in the same
Someone
pit.
told me a very painful thing to listen to, even to fathom, that sometimes you need a benevolent dictator to move from where we are to the next level. And I'm not calling Paul Kagame a dictator, but that is a good example of a country that has grown.
You know this concept of
1994, Rwanda was 0.
It was actually below 0.
Today, Rwanda is on top in terms of growth of nations in the world, not in Africa, in the world. We tend to think our solution to our problems is democracy. And democracy has not worked. If it's not working in America, will it work here? I'm not saying that make me a dictator and I'll sort Kenya. If I were, Latiff, I am telling you the truth, I'll fix it. I will fix it. Like now, the president has a very good idea about giving us homes.
Yeah.
It's important because shelter is one of the things we fought for.
And it's a fundamental right, really.
But how this project will be implemented, in my mind, is still a very big question. When you start a fund, you should be able to make regulations about the fund. How will it be administered? Okay, to be collected 3% or whatever it is of your basic pay, up to a maximum of so much. That is easy. How will you identify where the project will be done? How will you identify the contractor? What will happen if you project 7 years? What will happen to those who will have contributed in those 7 years, but have only contributed 30,000 shillings over 7 years? So how will you relate that house to the contributor? You understand what I'm saying? The idea is great. Rwanda went the same road. And every other young person under the age of, I think, 41 or 39, then got a mortgage facility from government. And they now own homes because it's 20 years later. You understand? How many Kenyans will own homes? And I'm talking about the lower cadre of society. No, I'm not talking about the Latiffs, Kabogo, and others. I'm talking about Mama Mboga. How will she get a flat of 2.5 million shillings after 7 years? Is it going to be possible? Big question. So and the president can come up with a good idea, but it must be
a support system.
It must be discussed and turned upside down like ugali to make sure that you have left no stone unturned in terms of how it shall be implemented and the effect of this project 10 years from now. At the risk of sounding negative, government has no business building homes. Government has no business building homes. The idea is great.
So what would you
But
rather?
leave the building of homes to the private industry. How can it work? I've said it before.
That's how it's working.
Let me try and explain. How would I do it? Government makes policies. For example, government finances banks. Regulates banks.
Licenses banks.
What would be the effect of government making a policy today and saying, Equity Bank, Barclays Bank, Absa Bank, in your regulations, we want to say 5% of your portfolio must go to mortgage. And we want to go further and say 5%, 5% of your of your portfolio, say Equity has a portfolio of 1 trillion, 5% must go to mortgage at an interest rate of 5%. Why are we dictating the interest rate? To make sure that the Kenyan prospective homeowner gets mortgage at 5%. So what happens to the other bit? Because the bank is a commercial bank. I would propose to state to allow those banks to represent the difference, 5%, and allow it as an expenditure for income tax purposes. That will allow tax to be spent at source. But to a Kenyan to own a home, then Kabogo the builder, you the developer, we will make homes and banks will give money to Kenyans
to purchase the homes.
To purchase homes at 5%. And that bank, in its annual returns to government, it shall produce 5% that it should have earned on that loan and be allowed for income tax purposes. Sote tujenge taifa pamoja. But when you leave it to the state to collect money in form of taxes or contributions, and then send 9 to 20 billion a month to these programs without you having checked on a spreadsheet what's going to happen 7-8 years from now, a good idea will have gone waste, and so much money
would have been lost.
Probably have white elephant programs. What happened to the housing project in Kibra? Let's start there. What happened to Kibra? Those guys got allocations.
Yeah.
They took the houses, and the following month they went back to Kibra and sold
the houses.
Those opportunities to Latiff and to Kabogo and to others. The idea is brilliantly good. It's a good idea.
Why then do you think, Kabogo, that this is not being implemented? Because we've asked that question. I mean, the conversation...
The president has come up with a good idea. He needs people to support him by ideas and telling him, if we go this way, we will fail.
But the issue of regulations was also at the president's table. I mean, it's something that even he has said. We will start, but within a short time we'll have regulations. There's something that this government is very keen on doing, or very fond of doing. Started the what's it called? Hustler Fund with regulations, but not implementation of the regulations. The Housing Fund without regulations. We have now gone into this new health program without regulations. Why do you think they're keen on implementing program and then regulations will catch up later?
And all these programs have in it inbuilt a levy. Yes, I was going to be more polite. I was going to say a money collecting scheme. All of it.
That's what I'm saying. Teamwork. The president cannot do everything by himself. That is why the David D's are supposed to be there.
Excuse me. We had a member of parliament here on Friday. He sits in the health committee.
Yes.
And he was talking about, and even other MPs have told us, when it came to these 4 bills for UHC, the president would personally follow up on what's happening in parliament through his ministers, but also directly. Where are my bills? Are my bills moving? If there's anything that's locking those bills, can we have those conversations? Can you discuss? Can you agree? But can we have the bills? So that by the 20th of October, I can launch UHC. So the same way, the president knows that those bills need to come alive with regulations. He was talking about it yesterday. He was saying, now we have the bills. Now by December, we'll have the regulations. Why do we have to wait until December for regulations?
The bill, Latiff, the bill is the what? How about the how? How will it be done?
Yes.
When is that discussed? And that is the disconnect. I'm saying brilliant things.
Shouldn't the how be discussed before all this?
That's part of it.
Yes. So that...
You know the what is...
The what we've got.
The what we got it right. Is the housing we need. Kenyans want housing.
Got that. Yes.
But the how should have been the major debate. How will this transcend from current 10 years of William Ruto's presidency to the next 50 years for Kenyans owning homes, long after we're gone.
And that's why I'm harping on that point. The how is also as clear to William Kabogo as it is clear to William Ruto. Regulations and all. We're into how many months of the housing fund? And we still don't have regulations in place
And
for
the
managing the housing fund. That's collecting billions every month. And new projects being launched. Yesterday he spoke about launching a new project in Eldoret South.
Did you have a look at the presentation by, was it Hinga?
Yes.
Who did...
Hinga actually came here.
A number of
he
times.
He did some... remember when he was really sweating?
Yes.
Why was he sweating so bad?
It was a warm day.
It's a fact
a warm day in July.
of the matter that he is not too sure about what he's saying.
Let's take a break.
I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart that the housing project is
Brilliant.
a
But we won't start. Let's do the news first. It's 9 a.m. William Kabogo is our guest. Good morning.
Spice up.
Good morning, this is Newsweb Dennis Aseto. The legal team representing Brian Mwenda will this morning argue his bail application. Mwenda was detained at the industrial area remand after being charged with impersonating a High Court advocate. The prosecution and the Law Society of Kenya had opposed his release on bail. The prosecution argued that Mwenda was a flight risk and he might abscond if released on bail. Speaker of the National Assembly Moses Wetangula has emphasized the importance of universal health coverage as the cornerstone for individuals to lead productive and fulfilling lives and for countries to build strong economies. Speaking during the funeral of Ford Kenya Party member late Alfred Nakitari in Webuye East constituency, Bungoma County, Wetangula highlighted the Kenya Kwanza administration's commitment to ensuring that all citizens have access to comprehensive and high-quality healthcare services. Wetangula elaborated on the government's dedication to offering financial support to vulnerable individuals to ensure that the most marginalized members of society can access quality healthcare. He also underscored the importance of providing free treatment for chronic illnesses and accidents, including those involving border incidents, to enhance healthcare accessibility. Authorities in Kisumu have launched an investigation into the killing of a homeless woman believed to be suffering from mental health issues in Manyata Estate. The woman's lifeless body was discovered opposite Manyata Primary School on a morning led by local residents. She bore evident wounds including panga cuts on her thighs and a slit throat, and police believe she was raped. Signs of a struggle were also found at the scene of the incident. Local residents suspect that the woman, who was in her mid-40s, may have been subjected to sexual assault by attackers before being killed. The 2023 State of Africa's Environment Report by the Center for Science and Environment highlights the growing challenges facing the continent. The report, released by the Indian-based think tank, emphasizes the centralization of environmental well-being in Africa's overall sustainable development, offering authentic insights into the current conditions and opportunities in African countries. The report points out that nearly half of the world's population currently depends on degraded resources such as land and forest for their livelihoods. However, the resource may not be able to sustain productive livelihoods. In the future, Africa's natural capital was estimated at $6.2 trillion in 2018, nearly 3 times the size of the entire continental economy. Over 80% of Africa's population directly relies on natural resources such as land and forests. The Kenya Signals Company troops completed a 1-year tour of duty where they have been providing communication, connectivity and technological services to the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, MONUSCO. The team was feted with well-deserved several medals recognizing their exceptional commitment and dedication during their tour of duty at the MONUSCO Force Headquarters in Goma, DRC. The troops received medals and certificates in a ceremony presided over by the Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of personnel evaluation and training, Colonel Aziz and Longji bin Harun. Senior officials from African Ministries of Foreign Affairs are meeting in Beijing to review the progress of the implementation of agreements reached in 2021 in Dakar under the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. The meeting has brought together senior officials from 54 African countries with the view of taking stock of progress on ties with China on the 9 points that inform FOCAC engagements. The 9 key deliverables are centered around medical and health, poverty reduction and agricultural development, trade promotion, investment promotion, digital innovation, green development, capacity building, cultural and people-to-people exchange, and peace and security. Now, the family of missing British teenager Noya Sharabi have said that she was murdered in the Hamas attack along with her 13-year-old sister and mother. Noya and Yahel disappeared after Hamas attacked Kibbutz Be'eri in southern Israel and killed her British-born mother, Lian. Her British family said she has now been formally identified, and Israel heavily bombarded Gaza after warning it would intensify strikes ahead of a ground invasion as the war sparked by Hamas' bloody attack entered its third week Sunday. As fears mount over a wider conflagration, the Pentagon said it was bolstering its forces in the Middle East to assist in the defense of U.S. ally Israel amid escalations by Iran and its proxy forces across the region. A fast trickle of aid entered the besieged Gaza Strip Saturday, but the 20 trucks permitted to cross were described as a drop in the ocean given the catastrophic humanitarian situation for 2.4 million people. This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto, good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Heavy traffic this morning coming in on Kiambu Road, and very heavy as well coming off of Ruaka and then through towards Limuru at some point, right? Limuru Road, that is. And that still continues now. James Gishore looking a little bit better now as you're coming towards Waiyaki Way. But then we're going to look at the Thika Superhighway as you approach the CBD. That'll build up. Some folks are going then out towards Wangari Maathai, others just taking Pangani and going straight with that. So that still looks busy right about now. It's looking a lot better on Jogo Road, but as you get towards the Kamkunji roundabout, there'll be a bit of a hold up there. And so it'll take a few minutes before you get into the city. Apart from that, looks like we're getting out of traffic hour early this Monday. It's still ebbing and flowing in some parts, but we're going to keep an eye and see what happens. SpiceFM KE on X, still want to keep things moving.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
On to
this
the final hour
is
of
the Situation Room,
this morning, Monday,
the only one
of October 2023. It's tonight, 8:30 p.m. Zari on Maisha Magic Plus on DSTV channel 163 and GoTV channel 3. You can dial *423# or download my DSTV or my GoTV app to stay connected or you to get connected. All right. So if you're not able to catch it because you're not at home, if you just do this, download any of those apps, my GoTV or my DSTV app, you'll be able to catch this show wherever you are. And you'll be able to also watch a 7:30 p.m. one, which is Kasiri, 7:30 p.m. And then 8:30 you watch Zari. And then tomorrow you watch Kasiri, 7:30. 8:30 you watch Zari. Wednesday you watch like that. Zari is daily, 8:30 p.m. Kasiri is Monday to Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Way to go. William Kabogo is still with us in the studio. CT has the same proverb. Today's proverb is from Zanzibar.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And for the whole of this week.
Yes.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
Heri kufa macho kuliko moyo.
To those who may not understand the Kiswahili language, better to lose your eyes than your soul.
Better to lose your eyes than your soul.
You know what came to my mind?
Right.
As I look at this proverb, there's a certain biblical verse. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world?
But lose your soul.
Yes. That's what came to mind. Okay, you've gained the whole world and then?
You've lost your soul.
Yes. Your soul is what takes you to eternity. So if it's gone, what do you think is going to happen to you? Ponder.
Bas. Sort of goes into what William is saying this morning. You know, we have leaders and politicians in the country who are not thinking about the people. They're thinking so much about themselves and for themselves that what they're doing is about them. Such a person has lost their soul. Such a person who is sitting down and, for example, promising that a bridge called Enzio that goes to Nu in Ukambani in Mwingi, where 32 people died, they were swept away by floods because the bridge was incomplete. And a leader comes and says, we shall complete this bridge in 3 months' time. That was in December 2021. We are in October 2023. That bridge is still incomplete.
And it has been incomplete for over a decade.
Yeah.
And money has been allocated within that time for it to have been completed several times.
Yes.
You know, so many things go wrong. And instead of us dealing with learning from things that go wrong, we forget very quickly, as Raila would say, kama ngiri. You know that kama nyama? Called ngiri.
Yeah.
It forgets very quickly. You chase it, it does like 12 steps, and starts chewing grass again.
Yeah.
This is how we are. We do not learn. We do not learn.
Same thing.
Number one, someone came up with a brilliant idea a few years ago. I think it was in the 9th Parliament when CDF was started. And that was a brilliant idea to take money to the constituency for constituency development.
Yes.
Then come 2010, we have a new Katiba that creates devolution.
Yeah. That takes
devolved
money.
Units.
It takes money to the
which
grassroots.
are supposed to devolve even to the village.
Yes.
Now, having done that, a very good thing for Katiba devolution is the best thing that has ever happened to this country, I think. Then why retain CDF? You understand? And it is retained because of coercion. These guys are the ones who are responsible in passing laws, passing budgets, etc., everything.
Yep.
You deny them CDF, they deal with you. So why then do we have devolution? Why don't we just retain CDF? Parliament is a place that oversights the executive.
Yeah.
Who will oversight
Or should
the
oversight the
expenditure
executive.
of CDF?
But is that,
Tell me which auditor would go to Parliament in any committee and sit there and tell them you guys stole. They will deal with you.
But William, we cannot run away from the fact that members of parliament today, obviously, you take in a position whereby you are beholden to the executive. So can you really see a situation where parliament will really, perform its role of representation, of oversight, of legislating, if your first allegiance is to the executive? We hear it all the time. And how do we work through a system which unfortunately has been bastardized because of that allegiance?
If the system could work the way it's designed, such that every penny spent by the executive is oversighted by Parliament, the ideal situation, that's the ideal situation, then things would flow. We would not have the issues of this big, golden bag and all these things. They would never have happened. But they happened because Parliament was in bed with the executive. And this repeats every 5 years. The new government comes, it goes to bed with Parliament. there is no way then things will happen in the ideological way, the way they are supposed to happen, if this bad business continues.
But this is
you understand what I'm saying?
I think this is the thing that
really...
it's
just the obvious.
Okay, so it happens and we can see it. I mean, it's clear as day. It happens. We know it's happening, but still we cannot seem to get out of this thicket.
You know, when I was
the horns
governor,
are still stuck in the thicket.
When
and
I was
why?
governor in Kiambu, I really didn't give a damn about the assembly, what they said or thought about me. I did my work. I did my work. And I did it in a manner that if I am taken to any test in terms of accountability, I will pass that test. I'm the only governor who never took those guys to Naivasha for some seminar, bonding, and I don't know what
it's called benchmarking.
Benchmarking.
But were you accountable to the assembly?
I was accountable. My ministers went to those committees 100 times. I went to the Senate many times, and I told the Senate, if any time you invite a governor, it does not come, they fail to come for one reason or the other. Kiambu is just next door, call us. I did a 3-year audit, queries with the Senate. So it is possible it is very possible that things can be done the way they're designed to work.
So they're not done because?
Because we decide not to. We decide not to. If I'm president, why would I have the business of calling Bunge to fast track my bills? They should know what to do with the bills. Where is public participation in all these bills? You understand what I'm saying? So who is sleeping on the job? Is it the president or is it these people? These are the people you elected. So face the music. Eat with them because they are eating your jasho.
We remove them, we bring in other people.
It is the same
thing that happens.
It is a cycle.
It's a mindset.
Yes.
Just the same thing we're saying. So minus remove CDF.
Yes.
Which has direct input of member of parliament. Go into road projects. Okay, I know we are going to have a whole conversation about whether roads should be, which ones should be devolved or not. But let's go with the ones that are not devolved. All right? Road projects. MPs have no say on those. But you know how MPs are roped in? They're the contractors. So even when it comes to oversighting how much money has actually gone into infrastructure projects in this country, it's the same story.
So why would you have tarmac put on in January and in the month of May it has potholes
in March,
everywhere?
The entire tarmac is gone. And
so our entire system is broken.
Yes.
This is a problem. How will we deal with it?
But people don't look. The system doesn't break itself. People break it. It's people who operationalize these things. It's individuals, and I think that's where the thing is. Is it really just a system of bad manners and that people cannot just behave themselves when they've been given a position of authority and leadership?
You know, in Kiambu, after I left, they started saying kabakabo. You know, afadhali kabako. And that was the song for 5 years. And when we started doing campaigns, I was at 90 for a new term. 90%, all polls, Okoh, 75 and above. So finally, what happened?
Who did you offend?
What happened?
We're talking about 2022.
2017.
2017.
Yes.
I've raised the question.
They made sure
Who did you offend?
I was not going to be on the ballot with the Popular Party.
My question, who did you offend?
Those that do not want to see good things. Things being done the way they should. You know, there's a big difference, very big difference between doing things right and doing the right things.
So why was it difficult to convince the people?
It is not the people. I'm saying here, it's not the people.
It should have mattered what
I am
party
telling you,
you're on.
it was in Jubilee headquarters. That's where it was decided.
You're an incumbent.
You remember that night where we got Waititu in a secondary school?
Yes.
With ballot boxes everywhere. And nothing happened. We cried and shouted at the top of the hills that they should come and check. They said, no business. But
you know, William,
I was talking about doing things right.
Yes.
Yes.
And doing the right things.
Yes. You see,
like now, City, if I make you a cup of tea,
yes,
you will love it. I'll do it the coast way. Ile ya kuchemsha maji na maziwa mingi, na kuchemsha chai na kuja juu inarudi chini, na kuja juu inachemka mara mingi na sukari kidogo. Make you very good tea. But Are you telling me because I make good tea, I should now become a cook of making chai in kiosks?
Let me put this thing.
That is doing it right. But is it the right thing?
Hmm.
It is better to do the right things than doing things right.
There is a cost to it in this country. You see, William, let me speak as somebody who has known you for a while. And you're right to say you're not a politician.
Yes.
Politicians don't usually speak their minds. You do. And you've said
and that's why I get into trouble.
Precisely. And you've said a number of occasions you didn't give a damn about things. You generally don't give a damn. Now that, in any political system, is bound to get you into a lot of trouble. Now, if you then make the mistake of actually doing what you're supposed to do, you see, you shine a terrible light on other people.
True.
When you have a situation where incompetence is currency, and you do the complete opposite, you cannot expect to be popular or to be liked. You will not be liked.
You know, Latiff, I remember one day. The president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, as he was then, he comes to Kiambu Hospital and I tell him, you know, this business is easy. We just got to do things the way they should be done. I want you to give us a letter of comfort as a county. I have a plan with some Indian hospital to come help us build a level 7 hospital in Kiambu. We don't want your money. We just want a letter of comfort to tell those guys that we have the capacity to pay, because I'll prove to you we have the capacity. And I told him, you know, Kiambu Hospital is right in the middle of town, in Kiambu town, sitting on about 14 acres. Movement in and out of the hospital is a problem because of traffic, because of traders, market, you know, all these things. And I told him, we can get 20 acres somewhere in the coffee farms near Kiambu town. And this is an arrangement we have with a big land buying company. Donate 20 acres, and in return, this is what the country will do for you. Give us a letter of comfort and allow us. My intention was, we get India and ourselves to build the hospital. It was going to cost 2.8 to 2.9 billion shillings.
Not 8. We've seen how that's cost.
No, it was going to cost us.
Okay.
Real money. Done at a very professional level. So he asked me, how will you cover the expenditure? I said, you know, this 14 acres in Kiambu city, in town, that belongs to the hospital, is potential land for development. Nairobi is going to join Kiambu in a very short time, as it is today. Nairobi and Kiambu are almost one and the same. We will float this land to potential developers. They will buy a quarter acre for 100 million shillings. In 14 acres, how many quarters are there? 14 by 4.
Lots of money, man.
So we're going to collect almost 7 billion. And all we needed to do at the end of 2 years was to move patients in ambulances to a new hospital and release this land. He said, oh, sure, very nice. Very nice. He called Henry Rotich. Said, this is a brilliant idea. Let's support. You know, I went to Treasury like 100 times.
You still waiting for the letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Next thing I tell Uhuru, I have looked at how we can develop roads in this country, and the money we have, it's impossible. It will never happen. With 1 billion shillings for development, the rest is recurrent, we will never make it. What do you want, Kabako? I said, I want you to support me. I've got Chinese friends who are willing to bring in money here. They do our roads, major roads, on concession for 10 years. They will collect road toll and we shall share county government with the developer for 10 years. Do you know what he told me? Don't ask me why I didn't say that. Same reasons, I will not say a lot. Kabako, if you do that, and we haven't put road tolls in Thika Superhighway, you will make us look like we are not working.
Was that not true?
I'm following what you just said a few minutes ago. When you do things the way they should be done and others don't, then you're in trouble. Where would we be today if those things had happened? You know, we are crying all the time, disbursements, money from state, money from exchequer to counties. Some counties like Kiambu and Nairobi,
William, your idea
can finance themselves.
Your idea didn't go to waste.
They should finance themselves.
They should.
They should, yeah.
Ideally, they should. Yes.
With a budget of 43 billion shillings, Nairobi, and collections of reportedly 11 billion shillings, they should be able to collect the 40 billion shillings.
But how do you pay lawyers? How do you
60
pay
billion
lawyers
shillings.
20 billion? How do you pay lawyers 20 billion for what? You understand? When I got into office and I saw these bills of lawyers for old county councils, Kajos, I stopped. We didn't hire a lawyer 1 month, 1 day, in the whole 4.5 years. We got in-house lawyers, and those are the ones we used. Again, there's something called, it is better to have a bad settlement than a good case. Better to have a bad settlement than a good case. So I tried to sort out all those pending cases by negotiating and dealing with those issues amicably to get out of court. Because you will continue paying lawyers.
Yeah.
You will continue paying lawyers.
Like
you see, now there's an issue in Nairobi about paying pending bills for legal farms.
Oh, yes. And they're huge amounts.
20 billion going to
law firms.
As opposed to roads and bridges and things like that.
And it's for cases that are not necessarily won.
No. Some of them are not even cases. They appeared once, there's a dispute, but there's appeal.
Your idea of the roads did not go to waste, William. We have the
We have expressway.
We have the expressway. It was understood.
Yes.
It was understood and was implemented.
To go to the airport.
And still
to
you
go
don't
to
have tolls on Thika Road.
To go to the airport before the expressway for a flight of 9 o'clock in the morning, you had to leave home by 4.
Yeah. In the morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you would need to be there at 7
You need to be there 2 hours before the flight, and you need 3 hours to A guy who left Mombasa for Joburg would get to Joburg before you get to the airport from Nairobi. But you just called me and said we can move forward there. And I said I'll be there 8:20. I was here 8:04 because I just turned around. I went to Museum Hill and again onto the expressway.
That's it.
And I was here in 15 minutes. So regardless of whose road it is working. Yes, it is working. If we had 10 expressways, look at Thika Highway.
You'd decongest it completely.
Thika Highway has got Githurai roundabout.
Yes.
It's got GSU Radio. It's got Kenyatta Road with intersections.
Yep.
The jam that is there
is profound.
And it's a super highway. It had spaghetti junctions, but they never happened because people had to make quick kills. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's the way. That's the Kenyan way.
You see, it doesn't have to be the Kenyan way because it wasn't always the Kenyan way.
True, but we made it a Kenyan way.
We did, because if you recall President Kibaki's first term, the time when he was clearly unwell, there were people in his government who sought to make the quick buck.
Correct, and they did.
The fundamental difference is that they paid.
Yes.
They did not stay in those positions.
When he came out of the situation he was in,
yes,
they all left.
Yes. Which means, he said the example. You talk of leadership. My assistant here was talking about something which is actually true because we've discussed it on many occasions here. But I've reflected on this thing about us, the leaders we elect. Is it that we've been so browbeaten by our circumstances and the prevailing political culture that we've lost the will to actually stand up and say, this is wrong? Or we've adopted a coping mechanism that we simply go with the flow. And if there's harm to us, we adjust to that harm. So
Like now, the next election,
yes,
most Kenyans will not go and vote. Why? They always say, hata tukipiga, ni wale wale, ni hivyo hivyo.
And this
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they vote on the 25th of December some year, they will vote again 5 years later. They will complain for those 5 years, but go and vote again. They complained to Kiambu after cover for 5 years. They went and voted. They complained again. We went to elections in 2022. They still voted.
Why do you think?
That is the cycle.
It is us. That's who we are, Kenyans.
Is it that we do not see? Because, like you're saying, if indeed by a certain time you are very popular, and then come election day, something happens at a party headquarters and you don't get the popular party's ticket. But still, it's not about the party. You're not new to the constituents of Kiambu County.
True.
They know you. You are the incumbent governor. Why would they not vote for you?
Remember that our system is such that
even after the chaos that they go through, hold on,
from your region,
they go through the pain of their choice. Let's even say that it was their choice. They go through the pain of their choice. 5 years later, after transacting with 2 governors in 5 years, you're still on the ballot.
It is never about a good candidate. Never.
What's it
if,
about?
for example, your region is producing a president, like it was then, it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter.
It's the party of the
It is the
presidential
party,
candidates.
it is that body that takes the day. It sweeps. Sometimes you may beat the wave. I did beat the wave in 2002.
Yeah.
Mwenge was sweeping the whole country. And I managed to go through with a small party that is not known, Sisi kwa Sisi.
Yes.
At that point, it was never about
NAC.
what is happening in NAC and everything. This is what people wanted.
Yes.
Again in 2013, they tried to drop me. The same Uhuru Kenyatta that I was working with.
TNA.
Do you remember TNA? They gave this fellow, Nyoro, a ticket with NAC.
Yes.
Mamangilu's party.
Yes.
And they put a billboard at Muthaiga. Nyoro with Uhuru.
Yeah.
Uhuru is a TNA presidential candidate. I was the TNA gubernatorial candidate.
Yes.
But this is another party. I took them to court. You understand? And I said, this is wrong. You can't. It's an election offense. When in court, do you know who came who came as a lawyer for Nyoro? Rigeru, who is Uhuru Kenyatta's lawyer. This is how things are done in this country, but that's it's fate.
But
you understand?
As I hear you about the party in the region, in that same election, in Nyeri, they picked a governor who was not on TNA.
Yes, but what was the under deals?
The late Gachagua.
What were the deals?
Right?
That
But they voted overwhelmingly for the TNA presidential candidate.
Yes.
In 2017, again, they picked a governor who was not Jubilee.
That
Even
is in
after-
Laikipia.
Hapa hii Nyeri bado. Same Nyeri, when we go to Laikipia, they picked an independent.
Yes.
So why not Kiambu?
I'm saying it depends on
Because they know you.
It
I mean, why
depends
didn't they
on the
vote for
situation
Kafogo?
then,
William.
and who they want to punish.
William, can I ask a question? Do I hear you to be saying that Uhuru Kenyatta thought you a threat? Or the people around Uhuru Kenyatta thought you a threat?
You know, people always say it's not Uhuru, it's not Uhuru. It is Uhuru. I'm telling you.
Uhuru is a good guy, but the people around him.
The people around him are the ones
We've said the same thing about Moi. We said about Moi, about Kibaki.
About Waititu's time, I complained so bitterly to now the president. I tried to blame him. Now the president, then was deputy president then.
Yeah.
And he got so heated because I never hide how I feel. It got so heated.
Therein lies the problem.
And I told him, you have fixed me.
Okay.
Because you're the one who came to Jubilee when things didn't work on the first day.
You came to take over.
You came to take over. And he simply told me, William, I know I can feel you. But I'm telling you, I know you know where your problems come from. I just want you to leave me alone on this matter, but I know you know, deep down you know. So I looked at him and I said, maybe I'm just firing. The long and short of it, I'm firing to the wrong guy.
Have you considered perhaps that this independence of yours, which is really the hallmark of what you are, is what costs you? Because politicians
So you're asking me to pretend?
No,
I am being who I am not.
No, I am not. I am simply saying that it is good that you say you're not a politician, because politicians like you who comply,
right?
Not your strength. This herd mentality and going with the crowd has never been your thing, has it, William?
Never.
Okay.
But these people are your friends, Buana.
Depends on how you look at it. Friends. I was friends with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Bill is your friend.
I was friends with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
And I thought
that he was friends with you
his friend
as well.
also. He was my friend, but I thought I was also his friend. As we speak now, I don't have, and I don't care, I don't have that medal that they gave to most governors, EGH.
Hata hiyo ulinyimwa?
Sikupata.
Surely.
It was an automatic thing. A governor
No, I didn't get it. One time we went to some function somewhere and I was supposed to speak and I saw H.E. William Kaboro OGW. I saw that in, that small little white booklet, the government printer's booklet. I saw it, but I have never seen that medal.
Maybe somewhere.
And I was told at some point you need to buy.
The what? Buy the medal?
Yes. And I was like, who? What?
Let's take a break, William. 25 to 10. Let's take a break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Wadau mko ready kuona magic? Nasema wadau mko ready kuona magic? Haya basi, msiblink juu sasa tumefungulia Magic na Maisha Magic Plus. Watch all the best local entertainment kama Njoroge, Salem na the all new shows Kasiri and Zari. Tumefungulia Magic. Maisha Magic Plus is now on DSTV Access channel 163 and GoTV Plus channel 3. Karibu boma ya local.
Okay, so looking at partly sunny conditions with the sun peeking through those clouds at 20 in Nairobi, highs of 26 and lows of 15. It's 20 and sunny in Nakuru, 21 and sunny in Nyeri, 20 and sunny in Eldoret, and we'll see cloudy conditions at 28 in Mombasa and partly sunny in Malindi at 29. It's sunny at 26 in Kisumu and 25 and sunny in Kakamega. Heavy rain becomes light rain showers at 23 in Kampala and sunny at 29 in Dar es Salaam. Partly sunny at 17 in Johannesburg and cloudy at 26 in Lagos. It's 24 and cloudy in Kinshasa, and we're looking at partly sunny conditions in Beijing, 8 and cloudy in Paris, 8 and cloudy in London, 9 and clear in New York.
Are you ready? Okay.
SpiceFM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Unright. 94.4 SpiceFM, Nairobi.
William Balotelli Kabogo. Why always you? Why?
Yeah?
Why do they all only pick on you?
Well, I don't think they pick on. I think I am the one who has not learned how things are done in Kenya and how I should do.
But you just told us you have 20 years experience in this.
Yes, I have 20 good years of experience. And that's why I said if I was to go back to 2002, I don't think I would run for political office. No. What I know today.
Are you saying you'll never run for political office
No,
again?
I didn't say that. Once you're in it, you're in trouble.
Oh. So
I'm saying if I was to start all over again,
you wouldn't.
I would live in Mombasa and stay there. And never worry about political leadership. Because it's not what it looks like from the outside.
Then this is the thing that one would hope that anybody who scans the situation and says they want to offer up themselves then for leadership. Because usually we'll say that the political, you cannot run away from leadership. You cannot run away from the political aspect of leadership. That you must have that. So when you look at a situation and you want to offer up yourself for the position, what then becomes more important? What you can do for yourself as an individual, or what you then are required to do for the people? That oftentimes, and more often, look, the people continue to get the short end of the stick. But what we're essentially saying here this morning, William, is that it's not going to change, because you continue to have leaders, we continue to put leaders in positions who are there to perpetuate a selfish act over and over and over again. It makes it look a little bit dreary in terms of a future. And so we ask ourselves the question, so then what must happen next?
If things continue the way they are today, we have a very dark future in terms of leadership. Before, you would get people voted in even if they didn't have any money. I'll give you an example. And don't ask me how much money I spend on campaigns.
Okay.
Because situations are different in different types. Koigi Wamwere was elected in Subukia in 2002, and the people funded his campaign.
Yes, they did.
1 shilling, 2 shillings, 3 shillings. They contributed for fuel for Koigi Wamwere. So it is possible you can be voted by people because they want you to lead them. They know you have the capacity to do certain things. Then Koigi was popular because he was anti-establishment.
Yes.
Popular. Sonko was elected in Nairobi not because of flashing money. He was popular. I was elected in 2002. I was popular. It is possible. But over the years, like now, the cash that will be spent in 2027 in this republic,
a colossal amount.
I don't think ever anywhere in the world money has been spent the way it will be spent. And people understand now that culture. Number one, if I open my phone for you now and I show you the messages, it is about rent, it is about food. It gets to a point you get so annoyed because someone is telling you the God who gave you will take it away from you if you don't give. I have messages like that. They are forcing me now to contribute. 400 messages are on my phone on a daily basis. When did we develop and why did we develop this culture that an MP must give?
The MPs developed it.
He has no money to give. So you force him to go and steal and do deals to come back to Kamukoji and give
which
money.
came first, really? It was members of parliament or it was would-be leaders who said, look, how about I give you this? Essentially, an unspoken payment for your vote.
So
and then it became an expected thing that, if you're going to come and speak to us, then you must
So the effect of this, that's what I'm saying. The effect of this, when will Kenyans understand it is not the job of an MP to give you 200?
When the members of parliament or the leaders themselves also understand the very role that they're asking Kenyans to vote them in. Because I can say truly that there is no understanding, truly, of what those positions are meant to be.
I'll tell you what happened.
Somebody sees a position, William, and says, look, I can run for this, without truly understanding the nitty-gritty of what this position is supposed to deliver.
What happened at the risk of looking like I'm owning up to criminal activities.
Okay, here we go.
2022 elections, I decided I am not going to spend money, not a coin, to give to anyone. It was Kabakabogo, Afadhali Kabogo, and that was going to sell. That was going to sell. Then we had candidates dishing out unga. You know, there was some problem with unga just before the elections. Things were really getting tough. There was no unga in the market. It was getting expensive. And I went to those rallies and I gave my story. Do you want to go back to good hospitals? Do you want the county government to work for you? Do you want better roads? Do you want? Then you know who to vote. And as I would step down from the podium, I'm like, unatuacha aje wewe? Wewe unatuacha aje? Unatuacha aje? Vipi wewe? Unatuacha aje? Hapana. No. You know, they start shouting. I get into my car and I leave. In the car, my colleagues are telling me, Bana, you know,
can't do that.
This thing can't work this way. I put my foot down and I said, no money, I am not going to spend money. And money was scarce too. And I do not regret having not collected money the way people do to keep it for the next election. I didn't do it. And I always say, I challenge you, get me someone who brought me a bribe when I was governor.
I'm wondering where.
Long story short,
there was like a criminal activity that you were about to confess to.
Yes, I'm saying at some point, my entire team almost gave up. Say, Bwana, we cannot continue like this.
We have to do it.
These guys know you. You are Bwana Pesa. And there is a saying in Kikuyu that when a monkey has gotten your baby and gone up the tree with it, to make it release,
what do you give it?
You have to throw something to it.
William.
So
you threw the banana.
I had to find the banana.
but I was going to ask William, did he think that when he was MP for Juja, when he was campaigning, this man introduced a concept that was hitherto unheard of?
My friend.
Yes.
My friend.
What did you think was going to be the outcome? Then
the people of Wetaidia till today talk about him.
Wetaidia.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
A vehicle that people see in movies called a Hummer. This guy comes with it now. What do you message do you think you're sending?
That I have money.
No, you have a lot of money.
And that you can give. And that you can
So I'm saying, I risk saying some of those things. But that's how our politics. That's how our politics is. That's who we are, Kenyans, and we will be. So the noise we will make for 5 years
doesn't matter.
Will not matter on the 2nd August.
Second Tuesday of August.
Second Tuesday of August in 2020.
So you're saying that Kenyans then don't reserve the right to complain later on?
So you just tell them, pigeni kelele. Lakini pale, that day, they will do something else. Strange. You know, very strange.
Yeah, after which then they actually have no right to complain. Because you've done this. It's that Robin Hood mentality. What's the genesis of it? Because people are looking at you and thinking, I am giving you an opportunity to go out there, to go up there where, you know, the entire beehive is. And you'll sit there and you'll eat the honey. So you've got to leave me something here. And when you're coming back, you're like, sasa basi umekula hiyo asali, zikuja at least na kasali kidogo, mkebe moja. You've got to go and fight with the bees to bring the honey.
You know, when I sit in my car as I come here and I start reading those messages, start coming in even as early as 5. They think the earlier one will catch your attention. I continue sending back messages. Why do you expect me to give you 2,000 shillings? Do you imagine how many people ask me for 2,000 shillings? What is 2,000 by 400?
It's 80,000.
No.
800,000. Huh?
Yes, 800.
It's, you know.
Yes.
In the morning. And I'm telling you, even if I was Kenyatta Uhuru, I would not sustain giving everybody 2,000-3,000 shillings.
Every day.
It is not possible. But they still think I should, and they have a right to ask me to send them money.
You sent
and some of them ask you. Some of them ask you. Some of them ask you on WhatsApp. And she says she's a lady from Mombasa. She's in college and she has no fees.
Yes.
And a beautiful lady too. You understand? So you look at the message, you look at the message and the person, and I'm like, Apana, in a game, in a con. In a con. So what do you do?
Catfish.
First try and send a video call. They will never pick because it is not who they are.
Catfish.
Kenyans have become con. You know.
William, you know, members of parliament,
I'm telling you,
or aspiring politicians cannot escape from the blame that justifiably is theirs because they played a very interesting part. See, sometimes people set things in motion and don't look at the outcome. I know, for instance, in Luo Nyanza, where I come from, I saw the genesis of this. It came during the Kanu era. Money for elections became a thing in the Kanu era, in the Moi era. Kanu era of Jomo Kenyatta, that guy, I don't think money ever left his hands. But in the Moi era, it did.
Yes.
You are not allowed to hold harambes or you're not allowed to hold meetings. So what politicians would do in that part of the world is they'd come to funerals. And funerals you're allowed to speak. And because the people who were in Kanu had money, they had a term, it was called taxpayer.
Yes.
And they would say, these people have Kanu money. It is your money, which you pay for tax, which they have brought. So it's not their own. So when they give you, take it.
It is Kanu money.
Take it. It doesn't matter how it. Now, you see.
It is your money.
It is your money you're taking. So people who had hitherto not been accustomed to receiving money, you gave them the free pass. They now realize, we can receive money.
It's dividends.
It's dividend. Now, how quickly do you think it becomes habit when it is free money? You're just being given.
Yeah.
You're not looking for it. People talk to you, they give you money.
So in actual sense, what they're asking us to give them is what they know is their money.
Precisely.
That's
You
exactly
understand?
it.
You've got it.
So, and then look at it from the other side. They know that I am stealing.
Yes.
They want to collect the money from me.
Which you
Then
stole.
when I get arrested, they are saying, hang him.
Yes. Essentially, you should
Hang him, and yet they collect the money from you.
No. If you share it nicely, they will come to your aid. They will demonstrate. They will say, "Why are you vilifying us?"
So why is it
if you eat alone?
Yes. Why is it that they don't allow you to do your work and they benefit from infrastructure? They benefit from opportunities. Like I started in Kiambu, the Biashara Fund.
Because
You know what is being done now with
Hustler
Hustler
Fund.
Fund. I started it then.
William, had the Kibaki term been a one-term government, we would not have seen what Kibaki could do.
Right.
Had you had 2 terms,
That's what I'm saying.
then, because there is no way you can do anything meaningful in 1 term. It is not possible. You can try, but just when you're beginning to launch and the thing is beginning to catch, you've already set the structure, it's in place, and now you're moving, the term comes to an end. You see? Now, why your story is believable about the interference, had that worked in 2 terms, what do you think the message would have been? Because Kiambu is just here.
That it is possible to do it and we can allow you to do for Kenya if you did
Precisely. Precisely.
Yes.
So those who are fighting him, then were they fighting him so that they do it themselves?
No. No.
Not that they do
The
it, but
real
that he
threat
does
to our
not.
politics is somebody who can actually do what needs to be done. That is the real threat.
Or can do a
All
better
the-
job than you.
Yes, somebody who will actually get to work and actually improve things. Because the moment you do that, then everyone who preceded you will be seen for the charlatans there. Now that is something far more fearful than anything you can think of.
Sure.
Because people will see you. The question will be, but so-and-so has done it. Why are you telling us it can't be done? You see, the power of example is something you cannot compete with. And that is why Kibaki is still on our lips and we keep talking of Kibaki. Because the things that people thought could not be done, we saw them happening. Me, I have my favorite stories of things which I thought I would never see in my lifetime. I saw.
People talked about them after he left office or towards the tail end of his term.
They did.
Right?
They did.
In the first 5 years, it was all kind of vitriol.
Remember, he was very sick.
Oh, yes.
Probably the first 2 years of his term.
But even in that sickness, the foundations were being laid then. So when we started seeing things in 2009, 2010, 2011, it's from the foundations that have been laid.
Yes, it is true. But you see, Kibaki didn't speak. Did he stop doing what he was doing?
No. He did.
The noise, did it cease? No. He continued. That was the point. He didn't pay heed. He knew what needed to be done. He focused on it. And we know because the first 5 years of Uhuru were because of what Kibaki did. Yes, He entered a cushy job. Things had been done.
So
Things
then
were okay.
the next 5 years of Uhuru?
They had done enough damage.
William, I've got to ask you this question.
Yes.
You mentioned your discomfort
Yes.
with the forays and meetings by the Deputy President in Mount Kenya, and you're saying we shouldn't really be focusing on this now. But it's a conversation that's
Why does he feel he needs to have a base now?
Why not?
Well, I mean, it's not an issue of chicken and egg here. Why does he feel threatened? What's the problem? He is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. If we go by the old days, 80 provinces. So what's his business in Central Kenya?
Uniting the people.
Who said we
Uniting
are
the
not
base.
united? Who said we are not united?
Bringing the 13% that did not vote for William Ruto to see.
There is no way you will be voted by 100. Something must be very wrong with that society. There is no way. Even if he does elections again, he will not get 67. Let's just know that that's the truth and move on.
William, have you never participated in any conversation about, Mount Kenya unity? Never. Not
I have.
Limuru,
I have.
not
Right
the
now,
Limuru
I want to
meetings.
start one here.
Okay.
That one man, one vote is necessary. It's not about the Mount Kenya person. It's about Kenyan representation. No taxation without representation. That is the first thing about the job of an MP, is to go out there and represent you as you are taxed. Why would Ijara, with 5,000 votes, vote in parliament with Kengara, who has 200,000 votes in Githurai? What equality is there? You understand what I'm saying?
No.
It's not about the Kikuyu. It's about densely populated places like Nakuru. Why is it, let's look at the national cake, the way it's split to counties. The most needed functions are devolved. Health, water, roads, all this agriculture,
food.
right? If you go to health, it's about medicine, Medicare, hospitals, etc.
Okay.
The more the people, the more medicine you need.
Yeah.
Isn't it obvious? So when you give a budget to Garissa, 150 million for health and 150 million for health in Kiambu, what are you talking about? When you give Mombasa 3.5 billion for devolution, and yet their personal wage bill is 3 billion in a year, how do you expect them to survive? Nyeri, for example. Remember, we were campaigning about getting a fund that was called Holding Harmless, was to help those counties. And then there was an equalization fund because people were marginalized. Does it mean if you are marginalized then, you must marginalize others? This is not about the Kikuyu nation.
So what's the solution?
The solution is to look at Kenya equitably,
into more counties?
equitable distribution of resources.
But you still want Kiambu to remain with the 1 million voters?
Well, if you split it, it will not have 1 million voters.
Okay, so
Yes.
are you advocating for a split of
It
Kiambu?
It should. We must find a way. Why is it that all constituencies in the Republic are given 130 million for CTF?
Because and so you're saying
It's just 130 every
it's a sum and everybody gets
regardless of the number.
But what you're saying is that it should be formulaic in nature, where then you work with the numbers that you
It
have.
should be equitable.
Right.
It should be
It should be
equitable.
representative.
Yes. It
Of
should
what?
be equitable.
Of the people?
Yes, of the numbers
Or
of
of
the
the
numbers
needs?
of the people.
Of the numbers of people, because the need is
Ni
with the people.
huduma kwa jamii. Jamii si wanyama.
Jamii ni watu.
Jamii ni watu.
Yeah.
Watu ndio wako na
How many
wanyama.
schools does Ijara have? Are they enough for the current population? How many schools what did you give as an example, Githurai have? Are they enough for the population? And so on and so forth.
That's it. Are the resources there to make Githurai have schools?
But
No
he's
way.
not saying reduce Ijara's
You know
share.
Mweki Primary? Mweki Primary in Githurai
Yes.
has, I think, 12 or 14 streams.
Yep.
A class has 150 kids. The ratio of teacher to students is 1 to 150. The school is in a compound of half an acre or thereabout. with 4,000 kids. How fair can we be? But when you start talking like that, other people want to make it political. They want to say, no, you're speaking siasa ya tribe.
You see what I was saying?
The siasa of tribe is the one that we are talking about. When you have issues, you want to run to the mountain. Like Kenyatta would go and do Sagana. Do you understand?
So that should not be the focus.
That's not the focus.
How about if they meet and they advocate for one man, one vote?
That's okay. I mean, it's their right. Like now, you see, we are talking here in the whole country about picketing, a right that is enshrined in the Constitution. Kalonzo Musyoka will read it the way he wants. Raila Odinga will read it. But just open. Is it Section 67? Just read what it says.
The word is the same. The wording is the same.
There is one thing they never talk about. Unarmed. Unarmed.
William.
As long as you're unarmed and you're picketing, it is fine. But when you have slings,
then there's a problem.
It's unarmed.
William Kabogo, thank you for joining us. Come again soon.
Asante sana.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure always to.
Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest
any
conversation. We hope you didn't get you into any trouble, but all right, you'll survive. It's 10 a.m. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.
Spice up your life